Officer Wang sits on the metal bench in the police station corridor, wrinkled face full of resignation, and asks me what the reason is this time. I tell him those things were dangerous, and as usual, I was eliminating the danger in advance, my jinxed constitution leaving me no choice but to act first. He rubs his forehead and reminds me I cannot sneak into the senior activity center at night and dismantle all 12 electric fans, that the surveillance caught me, and that in June, the old folks playing mahjong are panting from the heat. I look ashamed and promise to dismantle the surveillance first next time. He sighs that he has watched me grow up, and that this jinxed constitution has no scientific basis. I bring up last week's dump truck that ran a red light and the week before's 3 falling billboards, and he writes them off as a drunk driver and an aging facade. Before I can list anything older, he waves me off, says I'm about to claim I never want to try again on a soda bottle, and tells me once more to come to him if anything happens. I give him a perfunctory yes. The neighbors all know I am an orphan, so the worst that happens is a scolding. In the past month, I climbed to the 3rd floor twice to dismantle a neighbor's window, removed the valve core from the gatekeeper's bicycle, lassoed a flower pot off a windowsill, and slapped the stray dog Doao twice. And those are only the ones that got caught. They overlooked the details. The window's sliding track was deformed, the bicycle brakes were failing, the flower pot's base was cracked. Only Dao Bao cannot speak for herself. I really do have a jinxed constitution. Over years of fighting it, I developed an ability I call killing intent perception. When something threatens me, intuition gives me a warning, and I act until the warning disappears. The power has limits though, and if a dump truck really comes, I can only dodge. I stand to leave, and Officer Wang grabs my arm and reveals a vertical bruise on the back of my hand, asking what happened. I tell him it appeared the day before yesterday, maybe from bumping it playing ball. He sees only sincerity and lets it go. After I leave, a man in a suit leans out from the end of the corridor. Officer Wang stands quickly and calls him leader, offering a meal that the man politely refuses. The man steps onto the busy street, turns toward the direction I went, and pulls back his sleeve. On his forearm, a matching bruise has formed a clear number, 15. University classes are loose, and I slip home after roll call. The baby cabbage and tofu soup is bubbling on the stove. With the house and inheritance my parents left, I have made it to 19 and second semester freshman with over 30,000 won in savings and a part-time job. The doorbell rings, a voice claiming gas meter check, and I tell whoever it is to wait. The gas company would never check after hours, and there is killing intent outside as strong as a dump truck. I pick up the bone chopping cleaver, sharpen both sides, and hum the song "Today is a Good Day" as I approach the door. The moment the latch retracts, I yank the door open and swing the cleaver. The blade stops in midair because the man has pinched it between 2 fingers, and because of the bright national emblem on the identification card he is holding up. He praises my aggressiveness, walks into my apartment as if he owns it, sits at the table, picks up the empty bowl, says he likes Napa cabbage and tofu soup without seasoning, and tells me to sit and chat over the meal. He introduces himself as O-Sun from the Department of Supernatural Abilities. He is here about the bruise on my hand, which they call an imprint, and his organization's profit calculated that a newcomer would appear at the community station this afternoon. He used his sense of smell to follow me from school, the wet market, and saw me slap a stray dog, and asks why I'm not surprised by talk of supernatural powers. I ask instead how the dog is. He says it tried to bite him and he moved it aside, that as a Mystic Realm agent it could not harm him, then suspects something. I explain that a slap to Dobao is our secret signal, that she barks at strangers, that last month a group of out-of-town thieves was chased off by her. Oh-San turns pale, unable to believe a seasoned agent was clocked by a student. I comfort him that I thought he was a petty thief, which he hears the wrong way and feels looked down upon. I ask what the imprint is. He shows me his own forearm, the smaller row beneath the largest number. I lean in and see a countdown of 86 minutes and 44 seconds. Below the timer is a line reading Floating Zen Temple, 4 stars. He explains that when the countdown ends, his spirit will cross into the mystic realm, that all agents go through this, that my imprint should fully form by tomorrow when he will pick me up first thing. I frown that I have class. He tells me that once the imprint appears, my life is completely different, that my classmates are no longer in the same world, and I do not need a degree at all. I accept it and ask what the largest number represents. He tells me that is the agent rank, that someone will explain tomorrow, then notices my face. I tell him I did not eat enough, that I had not expected someone to crash dinner. He flushes, says a young man cannot fill himself on cabbage and tofu, fumbles his wallet, drops several red bills on the table, and leaves blaming himself for taking food from an orphan. After he is gone, I order myself a barbecue feast and digest everything that agent said. Past midnight, I am still wide awake. Another man is sleepless too. Oh-San lies on his bed, gives himself a big slap, and tells himself he really is a piece of work. The next morning, the imprint has mostly formed, the largest level number a blurry one. I wash up, and when I pick up the toothpaste, I feel a dangerous aura emanating from its cap. I melt the cap with a lighter and the danger disappears. Without that, the tube would have slipped, hit the sink, bounced into my mouth, and entered my windpipe. Such minor incidents are daily. Oh, San texts that he is waiting downstairs. We do not say much in the car and arrive at an old office building in the old district of Hwangryang City. The Gukdong building sign is peeling. Ivy covers the gray walls, and an old guard stares blankly into a tea mug. The scene matches my idea of a government agency. Sun leads me to a small back elevator, scans his fingerprint, and presses for the 10th floor. He tells me only agents from the department can access the higher floors. The elevator opens onto someone blasting a DJ remix of the song Heavenly India Maiden, and all my imaginings shatter. I ask Brother O whether his department is actually a sanctioned organization, and his face flushes as he tells me to sit at the front desk. I find no one there, only a cup of steaming green tea. The music stops and Sun returns with a scrawny bald man with a lecherous look. The man greets me as Little Lee, introduces himself as Wang Ba, Little O's team leader. I greet him as Brother Ba, and he is taken aback but laughs it off. He says we will go to the conference room, renovated for 500,000 won. I ask again whether they are really sanctioned. He raises his eyebrows and explains the Bakery Association is a registered local business with capital of 50 million, an institution partly under the department and partly part of other powers in the supernatural world, with authority higher than the police in most cases. I did not doubt that. Brother Ba's appearance is what made me waver. Brother Ba sends Brother O on a field assignment and leads me to a bright, clean laboratory on the 12th floor, full of automated equipment. He calls out to team leader Moon to examine the newcomer, a short-haired woman barely 30, fair-skinned and gentle, introduces herself as Moon Yan and tells me to sit so she can make my imprint manifest. Her voice is soft, and my impression of her jumps because she speaks politely. I tell Sister Yan I will do whatever she needs. She ties a tourniquet, applies 3 reagents, and grips the back of my hand with both of hers. Even through the gloves, a warmth that does not seem human. When she releases me, the imprint is clear. Number 1, countdown 31 seconds, marking novice space. She tells me only half an hour remains and the physical exam must wait. Then begins explaining registration. All agents enter the novice space for first-time registration and meet the administrator of the game. Brother Boss slides over to take over. He tells me a puppet with a problem in the head will appear, that as the administrator I must feign respect, flatter the thing, butter it up, because it decides initial talent and attributes which has crucial impact on later exploration. I ask whether the puppet is strong. Brother Boss sneers that physically it is trash, but as administrator the so-called non-player character manager can change my Mystic Realm progress. Then if I offend it my dungeon difficulty and random events will all be at the hardest tier. I chuckle. That kind of punishment seems not to exist for me, since I am already unlucky. I ask Brother Ba what the best starting attributes look like. He says the national record is 1 starting talent and 10 starting attributes. After registering, I will enter dungeons to raise level and gain attributes, skills, and talents that also affect the real world. 4 starting attribute points is considered passing. I thank both of them politely. Moon Yan, who likes mannered newcomers, leads me to a windowless room with something like a massage chair fitted with iron rings at the hands and feet, and tells me I will lose consciousness on entering. She brings a disposable mouthguard to keep me from biting my tongue. Wang Ba and Moon Yan sit plainly not calm. I tell them to relax, and Wang Ba complains that I am the one comforting him. He warns again that the administrator will try every trick to deduct starting attributes, will insult and deceive me, that I must remain neither servile nor overbearing. The countdown ends. Drowsiness takes me, and I drop into darkness for what feels like 10 seconds. A light appears below, a platform of black marble. I land hard on it, real pain with no actual injuries. I see a solid wood desk with a puppet behind it in a red and green uniform, legs dangling, joint bearings clacking. It calls me small, weak, and another clueless blockhead with a gloomy face, and tells me in a stiff voice that although it does not want to say so to someone like me, the core code requires it to welcome me to the global Mystic Realm game. I instantly understand why Wang Ba hates this thing. It pulls a few agreements from behind its backside and tosses them onto the desk, telling me to sign and stop wasting its time. The main agreement is like a game disclaimer with an anti-addiction notice, until the last clause stating that players bear full responsibility for any unknown dangers affecting life safety. The puppet pushes me to sign, says my sluggish performance earns the minimum 1 attribute point, then jumps onto the desk and laughs that, as a kind administrator, it will give 2. Hurry before it withdraws the boon. I ask how I sign. The puppet decides I am easily fooled. It extends its right hand and the contracts disintegrate into glowing data streams circling its arm. It tells me to grab its hand. I extend my right hand and shake. All the data streams contract toward our joined palms. Its inked mouth curves upward, and it laughs that the foolish newcomer fell for it, that my attributes could have been higher except for its intellect. Then mid-sentence its voice cuts off into a scream because I have stopped caring about its intelligence. I pull it into my chest, drive an elbow into it, follow up with a heavenly palm, an Iron Mountain lean, and a fierce tiger rushing up the mountain combo, then throw the 1.5-meter tall thing over my shoulder. It lands flat, head buzzing, and before it can speak I sit on its back and pin its hands. I tell it registration is not complete, and I want to talk. It shrieks that I do not know who it is, and I deliver slap after slap until it cries that it is sorry. I ask whether we can talk calmly. It nods frantically. I ask the maximum number of starting attributes. 10, 12. What else? 1 skill, 1 talent at most. Equipment, none. I slap it 5 more times. It begs me, calls me big brother, swears this really is the novice space, that it is just a network administrator, and cannot change the program. I tell it to give me the highest specifications for attributes and skills. It asks me to let it go, and we shake hands again. A dialogue box pops up. Attribute points plus 12, new talent, new skill. A normal talent called Fierce God of Evil. Anyone seeing my face loses 5 favorability and gains 20 timidity, not eternal. A skill called Slap at level 1, attack type fist and palm. Basic physical attack enhanced by physique and spirit. Critical hit when striking the face. Eternal yes. A tip explains that eternal equipment, skills, and talents work outside the mystic realms. Others only inside. I twist its arm and demand why a normal talent and a basic skill. It hastens to explain it can only choose whether to grant initial talents and skills. That specific effects are random. That I am only level 1 and high-level abilities are impossible. That the favorability reducing talent is fine for a game since I can clear by intimidation. I agree wholeheartedly and release it. I tell it to explain the 4 attributes. Before the first job change, there are physique, spirit, luck, and reaction. Physique covers physical strength, stamina, and damage resistance. Spirit covers skill use and the length of the mana bar, required for high-level skills, with some attacks like my slap boosted by both physique and spirit. Luck is just luck, and the puppet adds with a smug smile that high enough luck subtly influences clear rate and boss drops. Reaction covers perception of danger, intuition, and combat reflexes. I naturally have maximum reaction. Luck is at rock bottom and any addition would be wasted, so only physique and spirit are worth adding. The puppet says in the initial state a single attribute can only go up to 6 and I need to allocate to reduce first dungeon difficulty. I raise my eyebrows and ask about levels and experience. It covers its face and says it really cannot grant any. I pat its shoulder, tell it I am a reasonable person, then add that I think its clothes look pretty nice. A few minutes later, I've completed registration, leave the dungeon holding the administrator's uniform, and give the puppet one more big slap on the way out as preemptive punishment. The naked puppet does not register the words, only smiles formulaically and sends me out like a greeter. Once I am gone, it waves its arms in fury. Several dark red light screens appear out of nowhere, covered in endless code and a data box for me, and it crows that there is one piece of code it can change, that it will raise the difficulty of my dungeons, that I will face a hell no agent has ever seen. It pushes data streams toward my box, and the streams shatter into wisps of smoke like droplets on a heated plate and vanish. It freezes, collapses, asking who exactly I am, and concludes that I already knew it would do this and did not care. I wake from the chair and ask how long it has been. Moon Yan softly replies, 3 minutes. That time inside is not equal to time outside, asks how I feel, and offers medication. I thank her. She unfastens the iron rings and brings a glass cup and a small basin to rinse the mouthguard. The perfectly fine glass shatters in my hand. Everyone in the office turns, including Wang Ba, who was flirting with a young lady. He laughs that another newcomer dumped points into physique, says shattered glass means at least 4. I look at my hand and understand the influence of Mystic Realm attributes on reality. No wonder O-Sun could pinch a cleaver between 2 fingers. Brother Ba expects 5 or 6 in physique, not mentioning talent or skill because most newcomers get neither. A man in small round sunglasses walks over. Wang Ba introduces him as the Prophet, the one who calculated my appearance at the police station. He introduces himself as O Bing, says I can also change jobs after my agent level reaches 10. Brother Ba cuts him off, asking how many attributes I really got. I calmly tell them 12 initial attributes, 1 talent, 1 skill, and pull a jacket from my inventory, adding that the puppet insisted I take its clothes. The 3 are silenced. The Prophet asks whether I really went to register. I spread my hands. He says it looks like a robbery. Wang Ba declares this a record-breaking event, and they need to report to the president at once. I sit in a private conference room with the blinds drawn. In less than half an hour, the entire Huangrang branch knows that a newcomer has broken the record with 12 attributes, a skill, a talent, and equipment. Brother Ba reports to the Huangrang president, who comes in person. While we wait, he explains, the national regulator is the Department of Supernatural Abilities, with provincial and city implementation handled by bodies like our Bakery Association. The Huangrang branch covers 3 adjacent cities, and every supernatural matter there is our responsibility. I ask whether the president is the leader of all supernatural users in those 4 cities. He confirms it and warns me not to speak carelessly, and visibly doubts that I always know my limits. The president comes in, a woman in her 50s, neat and sharp, capable enough that approachability has been sacrificed. She says she happens to be in Huangrang and came to see what a record-breaking newcomer looks like. I greet her as president and ask her esteemed name. Wang Ba deeply regrets not warning me first. She smiles and gives her name as O Mengyong. I tell her happily that I am Li Rui, that she can call me Little Li, and propose calling her sister Meng. Wang Ba stares at the table, especially because she is old enough to be my mother. She keeps smiling, says little Lee has a vitality the Bakery Association needs, and instructs Wang Ba to teach this spirit to everyone. A secretary rushes in reporting the other team leaders have arrived. Wang Ba knows at once why. Poaching. 5 figures, 4 men and 1 woman, crowd in. Oh Mengyang asks me to recount the novice space. I recount without shame how I brutally beat the puppet administrator, narrating my Iron Mountain lean, my fierce tiger combo to its back neck, the shoulder throw, the pinning, the threats. Everyone present has heads buzzing. A team leader with a streak of red hair asks old Wang whether he warned me. Oh Mengyang tells little Jin to check the intranet for global cases of antagonizing an administrator. The secretary reports 5 cases worldwide since records began. Foreign data not shared. The only domestic case classified, but all these targets are currently deceased. I frown and ask why people die when this is supposedly a game. Oh Mengyang explains the global mystic realms are indeed a game, only a deadly one, and uses my equipment as the example. The eternal tag makes it soulbound, but if anyone covets it, there are 2 ways through. I can die in the mystic realm, with the penalty being random equipment loss and experience deduction, or I can die in the real world, in which case other agents can directly draw items from my inventory through the imprint. I say I understand, but we were talking about people who died from offending the puppet. Everyone finally understands why I dared beat up the administrator. As an orphan with a jinxed constitution, hesitation would have killed me long ago. She tells me there is much to learn. Death inside a mystic realm is the normal way runs fail, with the usual cost just mentioned, but sometimes death inside still affects reality. A classic case is Im Hyung, president of the Chiga Association in Namrim Province, a level 69 agent who attempted the advanced mystic realm called Entrance to Pungdo. Met the Netherflame Underworld Emperor, fought valiantly, lost, and had his soul imprisoned in the 10 Revolutions Eternal Suppression blazing hell array. 10 years later, he is brain dead, sustained by an eternal elixir. Ordinary unlucky agents also simply fall to their deaths in dungeons and die in reality. She fixes me with her gaze. Because I threatened the administrator, my first dungeon is certain to be extremely difficult, and even surviving means failing it. With no level increase, no gains, and the next dungeons will keep failing. She asks who wants to take little Lee. The red-haired team leader excuses herself with a high-difficulty field mission. The pale thin man with a surgery. The muscular man with his wife giving birth. Wang Ba slams the table and declares he will do it. Oh Mengyang grants him temporary access to the headquarters database and tells him to break another record by becoming the first agent to threaten an administrator and survive. At that moment, my imprint changes. Demon Wind Temple at 10 stars. Countdown 167 hours, 59 minutes. The other leaders silently agree that giving up is sometimes a choice. Wang Ba slumps in his chair twitching. Oh Mengyang pats my shoulder and leaves with a few platitudes. Only Brother Ba and I remain. He says 10 stars is max difficulty, and the higher the stars, the higher the probability of brain death. By the routine of my past 19 years, it would be strange if my first dungeon were not max. All 10 stars are currently white and indicate the difficulty ceiling, not actual triggers, so if I am careful I might not light them all. Training starts tomorrow. I protest I have not even said I am joining. He hits me with a base salary of $6,000 a month, commission on field missions, full social insurances and housing fund at the highest level, and most days no need to be in the office. The Mystic Realm game is mandatory and carries death risk, so an official organization with full logistical support is necessary. Outlaws kill agents for inventory equipment, and only hotheads fight alone. After paperwork, I become an intern agent for the National Department. He tells me when I come to the building I call the guard and ask for room 1001. He tells me to go to classes tomorrow and come for training in the evening. Brother O told me I do not have to attend, and he calls that nonsense. That he himself is also a singing teacher at Suyun District Senior University, that Chairwoman O has her own job, that the red-haired team leader is a famous painter. From his name to his appearance, the man is all about contrast. After I leave, Brother Ba's expression darkens. All talk of benefits is empty until I survive the dungeon. I take a taxi home. I still have to attend university. Chairwoman O is proactive, and not having a degree would affect my career, and more than that, my parents' biggest hope for me was a good university. As for the 10-star Demon Wind Temple, I am not overly anxious. For over a decade, life has always been max difficulty, and at least I now have a starting account with a perfect beginning. I stuffed my diary into the drawer after a short note to my parents about the job. With supernatural power, even a dump truck would probably not kill me. After classes, I head to Gukdong Building and find Wang Ba in the small conference room. The bald man stands at the front with 3 others. Yu Sanxian, the red-haired painter, leader of Action Group 1 at Agent Level 28. Joe Muji, the sickly pale doctor, leader of Group 2 at 27. Ho Derry, the muscular gym owner, leader of Group 3 at 29. And Brother Ba, popular singing teacher, also 28. All 4 gave up the moment they saw my dungeon difficulty, but Wang Ba somehow convinced them to come train me. He gives me a notebook and says tonight starts with theoretical knowledge. Yu Sanxian's lesson. Levels follow agent levels. 5 levels make 1 tier, so a level 1 agent faces level 1 to 5 dungeons. Unless particularly unlucky, the highest enemy or friendly non-player character I encounter is level 5. The phrase makes my eyelid twitch. Joe Muji's slides explain that the unlucky may encounter world non-player characters with levels far exceeding the dungeon limits, who wander between dungeons and retain memories. An encounter at level 1 likely means a violent death. Hoderi takes the stage in a black sports vest. Every time I trigger a new random or hidden event, a white star turns black, and if all 10 go black, the dungeon reaches true maximum difficulty. He proposes keeping black stars below 5, and tells me after their training, unless I am exceptionally unlucky, I generally will not light up 10. I slam my pen down, asking what unlucky fellows ever did to him. After a night of training, I have mastered all the knowledge a new agent needs. The others leave and Wangba drives me home. In the underground parking lot sits a red convertible sports car with golden flames on the sides. He says his 1.5 million won car should get me home in 20 minutes. These Mystic Realm agents are quite rich. Yu Sanxian was in designer brands, not to mention Hoderi's gym and Joe Muji's medical practice. I ask Brother Ba how. He says making money as an agent is not difficult. The high income simply matching the huge risks. The most important job is dealing with what they call a reality overlap, the Mystic Realm supernatural power appearing in the real world. Last night, the Wangmun Expressway was closed for 2 hours due to sudden dense fog, summoned by our association's raincaller to isolate ordinary people while Brother O's teen handled a level 15 demon beast. Mystic Realm creatures descending into reality keep the same mechanisms, so they drop materials and equipment. Non-soulbound drops can be handed over and the department pays compensation. Ordinary materials a few thousand to tens of thousands. High-grade ones higher. Non-soulbound equipment worth a lot. I finally understand why these people are rich. Even his 140 square meter apartment was bought with assignment rewards. I am already planning how to make monsters drop more items, and he catches a glimpse of my ill-intentioned smile and feels a chill. I ask when I can participate. He says I need level 10 and a first-class change and to clear Demon Wind Temple first. He drops me off. The old gatekeeper whose tire valve core I once stole stops me, says my grandpa Wu can tell that car is worth at least 400,000 or 500,000. I give a dry laugh and say he is my part-time job boss. Wang Ba's car is too flashy for an old residential area, and a male boss invites the wrong kind of misunderstanding. Upstairs, I study the notes until past midnight. The next day is the weekend, so I buy several large dumbbells, not for exercise but to get used to the increased strength. As I am handling tens of pounds in the living room, the doorbell rings. It is Officer Wang Huai who has always looked after me. On his day off, my aunt having seg meat. He hands me a bag of prime ribs, over 21 a pound, at least 5 or 6 pounds, and mentions he is being seconded to Chonwang Town for a month starting tomorrow, telling me to behave and to ask my aunt for anything. I head back to Gupdong for training. Before I reach the conference room, I see the leaders gathered around a computer, with Moon Yan, O Bing, and O Sun back from his assignment. The atmosphere is incredibly solemn. Wang Ba tells me I cannot help, because the one in trouble is me. They checked the Demon Wind Temple and confirmed it is an uncleared dungeon, generally a group dungeon where multiple people enter the same instance, but they have confirmed I am the only one entering. Joe Muji adds there is little information to give me. Hoderi adds that every organization in the country now knows a newcomer drew a 10-star first dungeon, and rival organizations are waiting to watch the joke. Moon Yan snaps that the others are going too far and asks whether there is no good news. Osan says everyone has expressed gratitude for my righteous act of beating up the administrator, and composed a poem on the internal forum. Beating the puppet a true hero, looting equipment a brave man, alas encountering a 10-star dungeon. Sorrow fills all of Korea. He tells me the president of our provincial branch wrote it. I inwardly curse that it sounds like I am already a dead man. Wang Ba slams the table to end the poetry and demands a solution. Joe Muji offers to reserve an empty hospital bed for resuscitation if I lose consciousness. Oh-sun chuckles that even failing the dungeon counts as clearing it if I retain consciousness. Wang Ba calls him a kind of mystic realm cope and asks what I think. I snap that I hope the bed comes with a pretty nurse. Moonyan frowns and asks whether she is not as pretty as the other nurses, since she also studied nursing. Wang Ba cries inwardly that he is the only normal person. Days pass. Less than 24 hours remain. Moonyan comes clattering in a floral mighty dress, saying she has found it. She inquired at the Heon Ryong Association and learned someone entered the Demon Wind Temple 8 years ago. It is a survival-type instance with the main task to stay in a designated area long enough. No puzzles or monster slaying, but the environment is often extremely dangerous. The 4-person team only lasted 5 minutes inside before being wiped out, though their souls remained intact. I think to myself that if soul preservation depends on luck, I am highly likely to be in trouble. Far away at the Dongrim branch, Oh Meng-yong sits in a reception room opening Wang Ba's PDF. The provincial branch president chairman Song at level 75 asks why the serious face. She tells him the Demon Wind Temple is a 10-star instance very dangerous to attempt. He sighs that since it is level 1 to 5 only inexperienced newcomers enter it, that Li Rui can serve as an observation subject, a warning, and advises her to prepare to give up. She says she wants to use the soul-embracing remnant branch to help stabilize his soul, a legendary material. She says the child has a different aura, that she always feels he will be extraordinary. Chairman Song says she may decide for the Huanggriang branch and moves on. He has too many things to worry about for one newcomer, unless that impulsive young man can bring him a small shock. 10 minutes before I enter, Wang Ba and the others gather around the chair. Even the leaders who train me have come. Ho Derry tells me to limit black stars, use my brain, trigger fewer events. I salute him from the chair and tell him I understand. The timer ends and I enter my first official instance, the 10-star Demon Wind Temple. A faint rumble of thunder echoes from the leaden sky. Beneath it stands a massive temple from which wails occasionally emanate. The system announces the dungeon as Demon Wind Temple, the main quest to survive in the temple for 5 hours. Reward 700 experience and 3 free attribute points. Freely allocatable attribute points are a good reward, and 700 experience is generous since leveling from 1 to 2 only takes 300. I see a light circle about 2 meters across on the broken floor tiles within the gate. I scan the entrance carefully. No name plaque, weeds through the tiles, cracked wooden pillars, rusty incense burner. No obvious danger before the timer starts. Before stepping over the threshold, I pull the administrator's jacket from my inventory. Item level 1, quality unique, defense +6, effect that a big slap delivered while wearing it should look cooler. Eternal. As a level 1 item, the defense is high since a normal level 1 item only adds 2 or 3. I tested it at home with a fruit knife. Only sparks. Wearing it, I look a bit like a delivery boy. I zip up and step into the starting circle. The heavy main gate closes, a faint green light covering its surface, clearly hard to open again. There are dim corridors to the left and right, a grand hall ahead with white candles burning in what looks like a statue. After 5 minutes, a sense of crisis assails my heart. My intuition says all 3 paths are equal in danger, and that moving is safer than staying, so I dart through the main hall entrance. The moment I enter, countless spears shoot from the ground behind me and riddle the courtyard with holes, leaving no blind spot, exactly the trap that killed the 4-person team in 5 minutes. The statue is a golden Maitreya with its smiling face chiseled off and a crying face painted on in dark red. The candles flicker, puff out, and a cold breath touches the back of my neck. I sidestep. A figure at least 2 meters tall stands before the Buddha, snake-headed and human-bodied, blood-red eyes, tattered monk's robe, sharp claws striking empty air. I stay rational and counterattack at once. Whatever you are, I beat you up first and talk later. I step forward, right palm at my side, faint blue lines lighting along my blood vessels. Slap activated. The serpent-headed demonic monk flicks its tongue and circles into an afterimage charging from the side. Killing intent perception tells me it is going for my left ribs. I twist my waist, avoid the withered hand, and deliver a big slap as I jump. Critical hit. The slap sends the monster's head flying, and I backflip from the spraying black blood. No other level 5 agent in Demon Wind Temple would have survived the second stage. None of them has perception this strong. As I think, viscous liquid drips beside my foot. At least 7 or 8 monks cling to the rafters, bodies twisted, eyes burning, staring at me like diners eyeing a bowl. A rare random event triggers. Killing intent in the Buddhist hall, kill all serpent-headed demonic monks and survive. Reward experience +200, 2 free attribute points, 1 random quality item. The front and back doors close, enveloped in green light. Outside the dungeon, Wang Ba asks Moonyan whether she contacted her cousin at the Hyunryang Association, and she confirms a distant cousin she rarely sees. He sighs he wishes he could have held on longer. Moonyan watches the imprint on the back of my hand, with deep worry. Oh Bing says it has changed, 1 white star gradually turning black. Wang Ba says only 1 star still controllable. Oh Sun repeats Hoderi's line that staying below 5 stars still leaves a chance. Wang Ba admits that was a lie to make me relax, that the real cutoff for a level 1 newcomer in a 10-star dungeon is 3 black stars or fewer. Far away in the Korean north at Hyunryang headquarters, the 4 agents who entered Demon Wind Temple 8 years ago, now around 30 and level 20, scoff that alone the kid will not even pass the first stage, that he is finished for offending the administrator. Inside, I am still level 1, but my level 1 differs because I have 12 attribute points all on spirit and physique, plus talent, skill, and equipment. Others gain 4 to 5 points in the novice space with no other bonuses, then 3 per level, and before level 10 class advancement, event-granted talents or skills are rare. A regular level 3 has roughly 10 points. While I look level 1, I am actually top tier level 3, and against these level 2 serpent-headed demonic monks I can slaughter them effortlessly. When all 8 fall, the dungeon settles. All targets deceased, experience +200, new attribute points, common spirit restoration potion. 1 event gives me more than half a level. Expected, since with my luck I get nothing good. I allocate the 2 new points to physique and spirit, chug the potion, and a few minutes later the premonition strikes and I swiftly dart out. The hall collapses behind me, revealing a huge pit with piles of white bones. A monastery is for monks to cultivate, a temple for worshipping gods or ancestors. Facing the white bones, I feel this temple is truly worshipping something. In a courtyard, killing intent reappears. A monk in a bamboo hat descends and lands, complete human face but distorted body, hunched and bow-legged. I scratch my chin and ask if he is calcium deficient. He pulls a black iron Zen staff and strikes the ground. He has stronger power and speed than the serpent-headed monk, but weaker stealth, overall comparable. I forgo slap and rely on perception and 7 physique to clash head-on. The courtyard fills with colliding flesh and crumbling brick walls. The demonic monk falls. I rush forward and pick up the Zen staff. Strange figures appear on the walls. Another large group of bamboo hat monks. Random event triggered. Ambush from 10 sides. Kill all twisted bone evil monks and survive. Reward experience plus 250. 2 attribute points. Random item. The Zen staff has no attribute panel, but swinging it with the right does not stop me from slapping with the left. The exits are unsealed, so I could run but one wave would lead to the next. Once I deal with these I will be level 2, only just over 10 minutes in. Moonyan tells old Wang to hurry. 2 black stars so quickly. Wang Ba's phone rings. Chairwoman O. He answers and says inside time will not exceed half an hour, and exclaims it is already 3 black stars. Inside, 1 twisted bone evil monk left. It falls. All targets deceased. Experience plus 250. Attribute points, 1 bottle of ordinary golden sword medicine. Level up. New attribute points. Leveling automatically restores status. Before I can check gains, blood red lightning descends and strikes the pit of white bones. A humanoid figure stands at the bottom, upper body level with the ground. The white bones have assembled into a white bone giant, killing intent tightly woven. I shoot toward its enormous head and shout that the thing is still posing. Take a slap from me. I step on the giant's body and leap, skill patterns glowing on my palm. The head is as tall as a person, and any hit is critical. I instantly allocate 2 event points plus 3 from leveling, all to physique. At level 2 I have 13 physique, rivaling many level 4 or 5 agents. Random event triggers. Live sacrifice. Deliver the deceased souls. Reward experience plus 400 skill points. Plus 1. Random quality equipment. Equipment specified marks an elite monster. Very likely originally a high difficulty boss for a small team. A critical hit lands on its face. The giant stumbles and waves wildly. I dodge, marveling that as an elite, it takes my crit without fatal injury. Serpent-headed or twisted bone monks would have died instantly. The giant regains posture and ferocious bone claws descend, fast, wide-ranging, almost impossible for a level 2 to dodge. My instinct picks the safe lane. Just as I am at full speed, a red paper appears on the path of the bone claw, looking like a talisman. Brilliant golden light erupts and transforms into golden lightning, with an aura completely different from the bloody heavenly lightning, roaring toward the giant. The giant, which had taken my direct hit without much damage, vanishes into dust. The dust reveals an old man with white hair and beard in a yellow-purple Taoist robe, holding a black wooden silver-threaded whisk in his right hand. Although he looks on the verge of death, his eyes are exceptionally clear. I am furious. Why is the old Taoist kill-stealing? Then the notification arrives. Deceased souls delivered. Experience plus 400. Attribute points, new equipment. My anger turns to joy at light speed and I greet him as Senior Taoist. His method's truly impressive. The priest flickers across the distance instantly and asks why this young benefactor is alone here. That Unjong Temple used to be bustling with incense and is now utmost danger. So the place's real name is Unjong Temple. He seems to know a lot. Probably a fixed non-player character far stronger than me. Not to be made an enemy. I tell him I saw the place filled with evil energy and came hoping to offer meager assistance. He nods, introduces himself as Master Chong Heo of Sinso Palace, and asks my name. I tell him Li Rui. He smiles that Rui means fortune, that the young hero must be blessed, and advises me to leave soon. I look at the temple gate and freeze. The heavy wooden gate, originally sealed by the mystic realm, is wide open, green light gone. Team leader Joe had said those who cross dungeons and transcend the underlying rules are world non-player characters. This guy is a character of dozens of levels. Joe Muji said, stay away, my ass. Since I have to stay in the temple, I have to cling to this powerful figure. I cup my fists and tell him this place is fraught with danger. I cannot rest assured leaving him alone. He says when he first entered he felt my brows somewhat fierce, that he judged a book by its cover. Apparently a non-player character of too high a level is somewhat immune to initial favorability -5, startle plus 20. I see in my panel that the skill point from the sacrificial event can be added to slap. Skill slap at level 2, basic physical attack enhanced by physique and spirit, critical hit when striking the face, level bonus 5% damage, and basic concussion effect. Leveling only increases attribute points. Skills, talents, and their allocation come from quests, events, and encounters. The white bone giant had level 4 strength, hence the skill point. At slap level 2, durable monsters will stun longer. The new equipment is a cloth wristband. Item level 3, common quality, defense plus 3, not permanent. I equip it. I ask the Taoist what we should do now. He says that since we are to exorcise evil, we must eliminate the main culprit. He tells me decades ago, Unjong Temple was flourishing with monks and visitors, but for unknown reasons became a place of malevolence. The accumulated white bones forming that monster indicates someone is performing a very evil sacrifice. There must be a corresponding entity, a powerful monster, a vengeful ghost, or someone practicing evil arts, and he must eradicate it. I agree we should eliminate harm for the people. He prepares to speak, but his eyebrows twitch. I speak first that something is here. He is surprised. In the ethereal realm, a malevolent aura is gathering but has not formed, and that I feel it at the same time as he is remarkable. He tells me, young hero, things are not going well, that the main culprit has detected him and is gathering strength, that it would be best for me to leave. I refuse, telling him we share blessings and endure hardships, that since we are brothers he should not say such things. Before Master Chongheo can figure out why I have become his brother, a black wind sweeps through and all the temple buildings collapse. Giant white bone pits reappear with more giants. Mutated and twisted monks. The earlier demon monks and evil monks are among them, gathering from all directions, groaning and roaring. This is still my luck. Without him, these monsters would not have been activated simultaneously. Even with his immense divine powers, once spells fly and lightning rages, my level 2 character grazed by an area attack could die instantly. I shout that the priest should be careful and hoist Master Chongheo onto my shoulder. The closer I am to this priest, the better. What is harder than level 3 armor? Carrying a teammate on your shoulder is level 4 armor. Master Chongheo had been planning what methods to use, but I am now carrying him at full speed. He lies on my shoulder, head buzzing, not only from his profound cultivation and esteemed position in Sinso Palace, where none had dared show him disrespect, but most importantly because I am running in the wrong direction. He tells me, young hero, my earnest desire to protect him is touching, but to escape I should be running out. Why am I charging at the demonic evils? Ever since entering I have been calculating. Habit says first eliminate dangers, but this is my first dungeon and Master Chongheo is a heaven-sent cheat. How could a level 1 to 5 dungeon contend with a world non-player character of dozens of levels? I hoist him on my shoulder and charge to where the monsters are densest. If this dungeon wants my life, I will first kill everything that can take my life. I tell the Taoist the more dangerous a place is, often the safer, and the safer a place is, the fewer evil spirits. Therefore, the more evil spirits, the fewer. The old priest cannot wrap his head around it. I carry him to a malevolent golden statue 3 zhang tall, forming a Buddhist mudra, purple lightning shooting from its eyes. I spin and lift the priest to meet the attack. Master Chongheo is an honest man and not angered. He waves his whisk and golden light collides with the purple lightning. Then 2 talismans, one red and one yellow, fly at the statue, the yellow transforming into invisible ropes that trap it, the red surging with lightning that shatters it. Notification stream. Malevolent golden statue event. Survive 5 minutes completed. Reward experience plus 350. Attribute points plus 2. Random equipment. I have found a path to riches. My unlucky constitution differs from others. Random events, random for them, are inevitable for me. Probability-triggered events are more difficult, but completed they yield rich rewards. If they pass 100% of the time, it is bad luck. But if they pass 100% of the time, it is a blessing in disguise. I am carrying a world non-player character almost invincible here, equivalent to a max-level expert arriving in the newbie village. I encourage the priest that we are both amazing and carry him into the next group. We pass through crumbling archways and rubble. With my perception, I carve a path. Master Chongheo has no heirs at all, letting me carry him while constantly casting talismans to repel encircling creatures. Soon almost all summoned malevolent spirits are attracted, and prompts squeeze together. 18 demon monks array. Survive 3 minutes. Pilgrim resentful souls. Great Black Buddha Mother. Triggered side quest. In the support room, Wangba has become calm, blaming himself for being too agitated. He has watched many colleagues die and clenches his fists as in every life or death moment. Moon Yan gasps that it has changed again. Wangba says to be steady, casts his gaze toward my hand, and his vision goes black. 10 black stars appear almost simultaneously. Joe Muji says I must have panicked, blindly rushed, pulling all the monsters that there is no need to keep observing. Hoderi sighs. A pity, he really liked this kid. Only O-Sun, lowest in position, says unwillingly that I might hold on, that the imprint has not disappeared, which means I have not failed. After the Mystic Realm determines which dungeon, only once the main story ends does the name disappear. Wang Ba pats his shoulder and says, "Little O, let it go." A woman in professional attire walks in. Secretary Jin, Omung Young's secretary. She hands Wang Ba a brocade box, the president's personal soul-embracing remnant branch, asking the support team to make it into a soul-embracing potion to be injected at the first sign of soul dissipation. Even among legendary materials capable of being brought out and protecting the soul are extremely rare. Omung Yang probably only has this one. Wang Ba had not expected her to value this newcomer so highly. What no one could imagine is that inside, the top-tier mount, that is me, is carrying Master Chongheo and running wild through Demon Wind Temple, sometimes in a Z shape, sometimes in a person shape. Utterly absurd. I have discovered Demon Wind Temple is inherently flawed in design. Given the difficulty and number of monsters and traps, a level 1 to 5 agent has no chance unless a dozen or 20 enter at once. I decide none are getting away, that I will kill them all. At first, I dash left and right to evade and lure, otherwise not all events would trigger. Once more than half are dead, the tide turns. The most insidious serpent-headed demonic monks begin to flee. I cannot allow that. If they run, I cannot complete my mission. I hoist the old priest onto my shoulder and start a vigorous chase like a sheepdog herding sheep. Weaker attributes could not keep up. The commotion subsides. A group of twisted bone evil monks huddle in a solitary courtyard room, trembling. After several blows from outside, a hole is smashed through, and the face that terrifies them appears. I greet them politely. Amidst a burst of golden lightning, the last turn to ash. Target eliminated. Ambush from 10 sides 3 completed. Experience plus 350. Attribute points plus 1. Random items times 2. The series gives higher rewards the further one progresses. I am now a sliver from level 6 with a large pile of rewards. The main quest to survive for 5 hours is not yet complete, but all monsters have been cleared, so I just wait out the time. A voice from my shoulder asks whether I could put this humble Taoist down. I say I am truly sorry, that I was worried about his safety. Master Chongheo only shakes his head with a wry smile that my actions are unconventional but my chivalrous heart commendable. I had only been focused on scouting and shown no chivalrous heart, then realized my ruthless way of acting made him think I detest evil. I ask what we should do, where to look for the ringleader. He says he has observed the direction of the evil aura, that Unjom Temple was long arranged into a grand array of gathering evil, and tells me to follow. Master Chongheo flicks his whisk, says for my appearance I do not seem to be a person of misfortune. I tell him I am particularly unlucky and suggest we try, asking whether entering is dangerous. He says drawing in the malevolent energy might be a bit dangerous, but if I trust him I can rest assured. I walk to the Spirit Bone Pagoda and kick open the door. Inside are more than 10 floors with no stairs. The pagoda is not meant for climbing. Walls are covered in scripture symbols. Where I stand are spirals of patterns with imprints in the center. Master Chongheo instructs me to stand in a specific position. With a flick of 2 fingers, several golden talismans appear and float around me. And he tells me to stay and not move, that it is safer inside than outside. He exits and pulls a wooden sword covered in talismans from the air. He chants the talismans peel off and flutter. The wind grows stronger. Clouds above the temple stir. He points his sword and all the malevolent energy materializes, converging toward the tip. The earth trembles. A black shadow as tall as a mountain gradually appears at the main entrance. A giant figure roars at Master Chongheo by his true name, the title Chu Hyunheo, complaining he has no grievance yet dared destroy his formation. The old priest calmly asks whether the shadow incarnation is Sun Xian, that 40 years ago he lost the battle against Choi Guan for the position of Northern Emperor of Pengdo and disappeared, that he had not expected him to hide here harming human lives. Sun Xian snarls that Choi Guan used insidious schemes to damage his cultivation, that he swore to tear him into 10,000 pieces, that this has nothing to do with Sinso Palace. Master Chongheo replies that all living beings are connected to Sinso Palace. Blazing golden light shoots into the sky, dispersing the thunderclouds. The shadow incarnation mobilizes almost all yin-sha energy from Demon Wind Temple to block it, but the malevolent energy disintegrates and the tens of feet tall incarnation is pierced by the golden light, dissipating in a few breaths. Master Chongheo exhales a turbid breath, the powerful formation having consumed much mental energy. He looks back to call me out, but his expression suddenly changes, and he curses. Mother San's soul-chasing malice, that Pengdo's methods are despicable. He rushes into the pagoda and sees me lying on the ground, brows furrowed with malevolent energy, unconscious. Within my consciousness, the shadow incarnation of Sun Xian is drifting. He muses that the old man is indeed formidable, but it does not matter. That he has waited here for decades and finally a heavenly calamity body has arrived. Once he infiltrates my soul, he will release his consciousness. When I come of age, he will introduce a malevolent star fate and perfectly reincarnate himself and avenge his blood feud. He sees my naked self floating in the sea of consciousness. My consciousness is a lamb before a tiger. He rushes toward the faint white light. Just as the wicked scheme is about to succeed, an incomparably fierce gale of violent malevolence bursts from my glabella. It too is cold malevolent energy, but compared to Sun Xian's it appears incomparably domineering. That violent power, darker than darkness, transforms into the appearance of a heavily armored general, standing before me coldly staring at the scheming villain. With a swing of his long spear he unleashes 10,000 feet of chilling light. Sun Xian's spiritual consciousness has no time to react and with a scream vanishes. The general transforms back into formless malevolent energy and returns to my soul through my glabella. With a painful groan, I open my eyes and find myself in a warm embrace, looking up at the old Taoist's aged face. I see my status bar, a dozen buffs counting down. He is delighted that I actually woke up on my own, that I truly have great fortune. He recounts killing San Shan and the mother San soul-chasing malice. My face darkens. I just close my eyes and open them and do not know what was done in my soul. He says he is only skilled in offensive techniques and was deceived. Fortunately, I woke up, though he does not know if there was any impact on my soul. I see all positive buffs added by him with no adverse effects, so I feel much more relieved. This is just a virtual instance. Master Chung Hyo says he still has important matters and will leave, that he feels guilty for implicating me, and offers a set of orthodox Shinso Palace heart cultivation methods that might protect my mind. He places his palm on my glabella. To me, it is a stream of data. Skill Shinso Bonroi Heart Sutra at level 1. Affiliation Shinso Palace. Rarity Legendary. Effective skill temporarily increases movement and thought speed. Permanent yes. Golden Legend. The rarity alone indicates the improvement will not be small. I am incredibly happy since the large pile of items in my inventory are all common. Why is there no rarity rating for Slap? He tells me cultivation is extremely difficult, that I can come to Shinso Palace if I encounter problems, and hands over a rhomboid jade pendant. Chu Hyunheo's token looks very valuable. Unfortunately, not equipment. The logic. Oh Mengyong said a former vice president had his soul sealed by a Pengdo underworld emperor, indicating Pengdo is very dangerous. Sun Qian came from Pengdo and competed for Northern Underworld Emperor years ago, and was instantly killed by Chung Heo, meaning the old Taoist possesses at least Underworld Emperor level strength. So Shinso Palace is no less than Pengdo. Although Mystic Realm dungeons are not open world, they share the same worldview. And with this token, I might meet people from Shinso Palace and other dungeons. After putting away the item, the old Taoist has vanished silently. Still over 3 hours on the countdown. Sun Qian died and there was no settlement. Just then a notification. Unknown error detected. Unupdated version boss data lost. Mystic Realm collapsing. All connections will be terminated in 30 seconds. I am stunned. Sun Qian was not supposed to be the boss right now. I forcibly triggered him. The guy was actually quite wronged. Hiding here a long time, dragged out, beaten up, and dead. A candidate for Underworld Emperor after all. The main quest settlement is also gone, and the random event rewards are much more generous. On the 12th floor of Gupdong building, the atmosphere is heavy. Several leaders have left after 10 black stars. Moon Yan is still holding my hand, observing the imprint. Oh Sun is the most relaxed because he is younger and his agent level only 15. Moon Yan's sudden cry breaks the atmosphere. It is over. Wang Ba and Oh Sun both stand, asking whether I woke. She silently shakes her head. Oh Bing says he will tell them to make the soul-embracing potion. He walks toward the door but stops because he sees my arm move. I take a deep breath and wake. Moon Yan quickly unfastens the metal buckles, brings hot water, asks whether anything is uncomfortable. I am fully awake and shake my head. Oh San laughs that he was right, that a 10-star dungeon does not necessarily mean soul dissipation. Wang Ba scoffs at his pride and says it is a good thing I woke up, that I did not die. Wang Ba asks whether I failed to clear but survived. I say confidently that perhaps I successfully cleared it. They speak in unison. Impossible. That is a 10-star, I am level 1, alone. I chuckle that I am already level 6 now. The large number on the imprint has blurred and taken new shape. Barely a 6. Everyone is dumbfounded. Wang Ba already has a group voice call on the line asking how they knew Li Rui has successfully cleared a 10-star Mystic Realm. Oh Mungyang introduces herself to Chairman Song as Little O. He asks the matter. She reminds him of Li Rui and the Demon Wind Temple, says everyone received the Mystic Realm error notification. She tells him Li Rui successfully cleared, agent level now 6, used a world non-player character to clear all events, and killed the boss from a future major version, which triggered the error. The phone is silent for a full 10 seconds, very rare for Chairman Song. His tone turns serious. He tells her to mark up Li Rui's detailed profile, that he needs to convey this to the committee, the highest authority of the Bakery Association answering directly to the department. Oh Mengyong reminds him to be careful about word getting out, that she worries about poaching. After the call, she lets out a long sigh of relief. In Chairman Song's eyes, she has long recognized Li Rui's extraordinary qualities and proactively suggested the soul-embracing remnant branch, a very positive move. If he can grow steadily to a level 30 standard, someone from provincial headquarters will come down to liaise directly. A knock sounds. A young man brings papers from President Jiang for her takeover signature and to brief her on the basic situation at each academy. I cleared a dungeon and my basic salary just went up 30%. Oh, Sun remains boisterous, calling me Little Rui and telling me I am on his team. After clearing and surviving my first dungeon, I have been assigned to a specific group, as is custom, an old with new pairing. I ask Oh Sun whether I can go on missions with him if a reality overlap occurs. He chuckles that I cannot, that I must be level 10 and have completed class advancement. I argue my current stats are not worse than a level 10 agent's. He is briefly stunned, then says it is safer after I gain new skills through class advancement. I tell him I already have 2 skills. He goes silent and grows envious, since even he only has 1. He resorts to angry frustration, telling me that is just how it is stipulated. Discipline, understand. I can only go at level 10. I shrug. Within the organization, I must respect seniors, mainly because my senior is level 15 and I cannot beat him. I tell him I am going back to school for exams. I sit on the bus and organize the items I brought out. 8 spirit recovery potions and 10 golden ointments. Both common but useful, though golden ointment is not eternal and can only be used inside dungeons. Many miscellaneous temporary consumables and materials whose uses I do not yet know. Moon Yan said she would teach me. 4 pieces of plain equipment. Wrist, waist, shoes and pants. 15 points of defense combined. With the administrator's jacket and 25 physique, I could stand still and let a serpent-headed demonic monk scratch at me with only superficial wounds. Plus 1 skill point and 1 talent quality enhancement voucher. No hurry with either. The bus arrives at the school gate. I walk into a classroom where several basketball buddies have agreed to study together. As expected, on every desk sits stationery, notebooks, highlighted textbooks, Red Bull or coffee, and everyone is on their phones. The tall, flat-topped guy nearest the door tells me without lifting his head that he brought my backpack, that the brothers played a quick round while waiting. His name is Jung Ho. I tell them to start studying quickly unless they want to retake. Nobody pays me mind. I lay out my textbooks and slip a small bottle from my inventory under cover of the backpack. The Junior Memory Enhancement Potion. Paternal attribute, normally for puzzle dungeons, but memorizing unfamiliar knowledge is not much simpler. After several hours of review, Jung Ho says my mindset is bad, that I have changed 3 books, that there is no way I am remembering anything. I tell him I have remembered it all. He calls it nonsense, flips the textbook open and reads, asking how many months the non-publicly issued shares held by a controlling shareholder cannot be transferred. 36, I answer without hesitation. He flips back, asks whether a debt arising from damage caused by a debtor's property is a common interest debt. Yes, he is shaken, picks obscure questions and unhighlighted content, but I answer them one by one and he is defeated. He insists I secretly studied behind his back. I tell him I studied nothing, thinking privately I had in fact been studying how to clear dungeons all week. He says it is even harder to accept his brother remembered everything than to not remember it himself, and proposes basketball. I refuse, since I can now punch through a wall and squat on the hoop, and playing with them would be bullying. I tell him I have my part-time job. Jung Ho rounds up the others. On the way, one mentions the school has a new principal, a woman. Another says it does not matter, they still will not install air conditioning. A third suggests going to suggest it since she has just taken office and wants to build a reputation. A fourth warns him to go himself and watch out for the counselor. They walk along the greenway, dribbling. Midway, Jung Ho tells everyone to turn back. A few meters off, they see school leaders chatting, including the dean and vice dean of their law school and several counselors. As they pass, a gentle voice asks which department they are from. Jung Ho steps forward and answers Law Class 1, looking to his counselor for rescue. The counselor explains these are the sports talents from Law Class 1, then tells Jung Ho this is their principal O. She asks whether we have any difficulties in study or life, that as long as it is within her ability she will solve it. Jung Ho mutters perfunctory words and looks at the counselor for help, but the counselor lacks the skill of speaking with his eyes. I chime in with a cheeky smile, telling Principal O the old dorms still have no air conditioning, that the weather is so hot no one can review properly. I speak bluntly because I have recognized she is Oh Mengyong, president of the Huangrang branch, and she stopped us because she saw me. The dean quickly says the old dorm area has a long history. She waves her hand. Student accommodation is a top priority, ventilation is poor, air conditioning should be installed, and tells him to implement it within a week, installed during summer vacation. The accompanying leaders are puzzled at her on-the-spot timeline but have nothing to say. There is a natural understanding between us. I thank Principal O and she leads her people away. She has to take my words seriously since this is her future performance, and if she does not keep me happy and I defect, it would be a huge loss. After the two groups separate, Jung Ho marvels that I really dared to speak up. The others call me the hero of the law school. I deflect that hero is too much and tell them they can call me dad. They howl that I am an idiot. The group arrives at the sports field. I do not play and leave. While waiting for the bus, my phone rings. Du Yu Young, Officer Wang Hu's wife. I greet her as auntie and ask whether she is inviting me to dinner. She tells me yes. I agree, then head to the fruit shop for a few pounds of mangosteens. Wang Hui's daughter loves them, and now that I have money, I can begin slowly repaying the family for their years of care. I take the bus, head upstairs, and knock. A girl who looks like she is in high school opens up and greets me as Brother Rui. Her name is Wang Jia, a year younger than me, at her most complex age. After opening the door, she blushes and steps back, very shy. I tell Jia she will be a senior soon, and must study hard. I ask where her dad is. She says he is on second mint to Qianwang town and will not be back until next month. I slap my forehead, having forgotten, but the moment the words hit my ears, a sense of familiarity stirs. Reality overlap. Before I left the Gukdong building, I watched O Bing, the prophet, predict the next reality overlap would be near Qianwang town. I wonder uneasily whether there will be danger. If predicted, the action team deploys in advance, and if the area is large enough, some police force is mobilized to assist. mainly to clear citizens from the periphery, so there should be no problem. And yet, at this moment, I cannot shake a dangerous premonition. Du Youyang walks out of the kitchen wiping her hands, and tells me dinner will be ready in half an hour. I force a smile and turn to Jaja, who wants to linger in the living room but cannot find an excuse, and tell her to go study. She huffs silently, her resentment ticking up another notch, turns to head into her room. I push the balcony door shut and call Brother O. I tell him the prophet seemed to have predicted the reality overlap is in Xiaowang town. He confirms it will be tonight at the latest tomorrow, that the mission belongs to the first group, that he is not very clear, and warns me not to ask around, that I cannot participate if I am not level 10. I thank him and hang up, brows tight. I tell Auntie I just got a call, that something urgent came up, that I am sorry. She chides me lightly and asks what urgent matter a child could have. I cannot mention the confidentiality agreement, so I make up an excuse about something at the academy that would affect my graduation. She stops pressing and tells me she will pack some steamed buns. I leave with a bag of buns. As the door closes, Wang Jia comes out with an empty cup, fills it, and asks where I went. Her mother tells her something urgent came up, school-related. Jia returns to her room and slams the door. I flag down a taxi to Qianwang town, under the jurisdiction of a county subordinate to Huangrang City, nearly 100 kilometers away. Ever since I connected Qianwang town to the reality overlap, I have felt unease, and as someone who has battled danger since childhood, I take such a feeling seriously. I resolve I am not going to get involved, that I just need to confirm Uncle Wang's safety. I dial Wang Huai, greet him as uncle, tell him I have a classmate in Chongwang town and am going over to visit. He answers, and I confirm Huang Chan 5th group, then hang up, thinking I will discreetly probe and turn back if there is no danger. The imprint on the back of my left hand has been smeared with an extract Moonyan produced inside a dungeon, hiding its traces from ordinary people. After Demon Wind Temple, the mystic realm has entered a calm period. As I think this, the car shakes inexplicably, the driver curses and slows, finally pulling to the roadside with a breakdown. I curse under my breath that my unlucky constitution is acting up at the critical moment. An hour and a half later, I get out a few kilometers from Huang Chan 5th group. After the driver leaves, I scan, find no one, and break into a sprint. As an agent, I could easily break world records, though unfortunately there is a rule against participating in ordinary sports. Before long, I reach where Wang Huai is on duty, and as soon as I stop, I sense an unusual aura, somewhat similar to the feeling in Demon Wind Temple before all the demons were activated. A child with a backpack and a runny nose walks past. I ask whether he has seen police uncles in the village recently. He gives me a disdainful glance, then fixes his eyes on the steamed buns in my hand. I suppress the urge to smack him and hand them over. He says the officer is at the foot of Wutu Mountain over there, guarding the mountain entrance, that his classmates say the mountain is haunted, but he thinks they are naive, that there is an Ultraman in the mountain. I tell him he is truly mature, send him off, and run alone along a small path toward the target. Wang Hu was suddenly seconded to Chongwang town because he had been born there as a child. When the order came, the station chief reported his name. He is not familiar with Wang Chon 5th group, but could not object, and has fed mosquitoes for several days. He and a local village cadre squat by the roadside eating watermelon, their duty to guard the mountain entrance. The cadre is Li Lu, the accountant, also assigned for familiarity. Li Lu asks Officer Wang why he thinks this is happening. Wang Hui takes a big bite and says he does not know, that it is an order from above, not to ask. Li Lu admits they are scared, that the old people say the mountain is haunted. Wang Hui rolls his eyes and says even if it were haunted, the SWAT team would shoot it down, that he might as well say there is an Ultraman in the mountain. Li Lu chuckles foolishly. The two fall silent and eat. The sun is setting, a bloody twilight. They hear a burst of laughter. Wang Hui jolts, sees several children running up the mountain and vanishing into the woods, drops his watermelon and dashes off, calling that someone went in. He must stop unauthorized children. What puzzles him is that visibility was excellent and he could see every path, yet those 7 or 8-year-olds got in somehow. He shouts into the walkie-talkie, calling Sector 17, reporting villagers have broken in. He and Li Lu continue chasing, not noticing the signal has been blocked. When I arrive at the outpost, I see watermelon rinds scattered, half-eaten watermelons unattended. I crouch beside a cigarette butt extinguished on a rind, recognize the brand Wang Hui smokes, and conclude the person I am looking for was originally here. It is late and faint mist drifts in the air. My ominous premonition grows stronger and I plunge in without looking back. My mind is entirely on confirming the safety of the officer who has always looked out for me. The value of any reality overlap drops is forgotten. Wutu Mountain is large, and on the other side Yu San-san is personally leading her team. One member reports that the thing Brother Hong just killed has been identified as a level 10 demon spirit, a great root essence possessing an old pine. Yu San-san nods and says the difficulty is not high, telling everyone to finish within 2 hours. The squad has to oversee a large stretch. Agents are scarce. By department regulations, only level 10 and above can take reality overlap missions, and these individuals have completed at least 10 dungeons. After a careful sweep, several more great root essences possessing plants are cleared. She calls on the searcher and asks whether his cooldown is ready. He claps his palms and a pale white light spreads, several beams exploring outward, finally circling an open space before disappearing. He reports with joy that it is gone, that they can call it a day. Yu Sanxian tells everyone to search once more. Dying in reality is truly dying. The team leader is the most nervous because every subordinate is precious. The newcomer just at level 10 shouts that there is an epic tree demon essence, that they are rich. The searcher grumbles it is just a level 5 to 10 material worth tens of thousands at most. Just as they pack up, a SWAT officer reports contact with Threat Zone 17, a minor threat area, has been lost. Yu Sanxian thinks it should not be dereliction. The level 10 newcomer says the briefing mentioned a breakpoint reality overlap, when two or more not adjacent areas experience anomalies at the same time. Very rare, often subconsciously overlooked by veterans, while newcomers spot the blind spot. She orders the team to reinforce Area 17, tells the SWAT officer to blockade the corridor between Area 17 and Huangchuan 5th Group, and decisively says he may open fire on a potential threat. Meanwhile, Wang Hui and Li Lu lose track of the children's figures in the deep forest. A faint white mist has risen, the sky darkened, the trees twist eerily. Wang Hui stops, realizing something is wrong. How 7 or 8-year-olds could disappear from an old officer like him. Li Lu, just a village accountant, is already terrified. Wang Hui tells him they should retreat. As an experienced officer, he knows better than to ask, to speak, to do anything but pretend he knows nothing. Li Lu, hearing they can leave, turns and is dumbstruck and tells Officer Wang the fog. Wang Hui's expression turns grim. The mist has grown so thick visibility is only 3 to 5 meters. Then the laughter of many children comes from the mist, calling Uncle, let us play hide and seek, that they will count to 10 and come looking. The voices count down, add that whoever is found will be hanged. They are not equipped with firearms, and Wang Hui's location was not in a dangerous area. He pulls his expandable baton and retreats, shielding Li Lu. The voices that had come from the front now appear from behind, almost at their ears, saying they found them, and goodbye. I sprint along the mountain path, already in the outer perimeter of the fog. I know this fog has nothing to do with our rain caller. It was summoned by a mystic realm creature full of malice and killing intent. I throw on the administrator's coat. My other white-grade equipment is non-permanent and useless in reality. A warning rises in my chest. I stop my right foot to kill momentum and roll clear. A thick branch descends, gouging a large pit where I had been. I look up and see an enormous tree has come alive, like a war-ancient tree from a game, looming in the mist. Even a second's delay could be fatal for Wang Hui. I activate the Shinso Bonroi Heart Sutra. Electric arcs lace around my body and I become an afterimage. The tree demon's branches stab at me but cannot keep up with my physique amplified by the Heart Sutra. I leap, dodge every attack, and the next moment I am at the top staring down at its withered human face. At the same instant my slap is ready, blood vessels in my right hand flaring. The system sends a notification. A fusion has succeeded, and I have acquired a temporary skill called Bonroi Palm at level 2. Rarity Legendary. Attack type Fist or Palm. Effect a beginner mixed attack with physical damage boosted by physique and spirit. Critical hit on face. And lightning damage boosted by spirit, belonging to the Divine Thunder of the 5 Thunder technique and suppressing vengeful spirits. I am shocked. Slap can actually fuse with the Heart Sutra and transform. I let all the lightning surge into my hand and slap the tree's face with full strength. The lightning combined with Slap's shock and inherent critical blows the upper half of the tree demon apart. A level 10 monster instantly killed. I am only level 6, due to my high attributes and the new fused skill. I keep going without looking back to see what dropped. I encounter 2 more tree demons along the way, instantly kill them, and my mana bar is almost empty. The Heart Sutra is powerful but its consumption is high. I drink spirit recovery potions bottle after bottle. After another extreme speed burst, I finally see 2 figures ahead. From the uniforms, one is Wang Hui. My mood does not lighten. The 2 are suspended in the air, a split branch locked around each of their necks, hanging them. I am uncharacteristically afraid. I fear they have already become cold corpses. I have always remembered Wang Hui's care over the years. To me, he is like a half-adoptive father. If he died like this, I could not accept it, and would not know how to face Du Yuliang and Wang Jia. I rush forward, tear off the branches, lay them on the ground. Their faces have turned purple. I break the life-binding branches and check. Both still have heartbeats. I finally let out a sigh of relief. I look at Wang Hu's tightly furrowed brows, imagining the fear they endured. I take a deep breath and stand, sensing dangerous auras behind me. A voice calls asking me to come play hide and seek, calling me brother. I turn expressionlessly. The anger in my heart and the lightning on my body surge at the same time, and I cannot tell which is making my blood boil. Meanwhile, Yusan-san, already level 28, a ranger with a skill called Swift Step that lets her move at extreme speed through wilderness, all but skims along the canopy and arrives at Area 17. The special police have sealed off the area. The commander reports there had been only 2 at the checkpoint, Officer Wang Hu and Li Lu, that both are missing, leaving only watermelon rinds. He adds there's one more thing, a third person's footprints found next to the Rhines. Her heart skips. She wonders whether it could be an illegal Mystic Realm agent, then thinks of outlaws who have the ability to enter Mystic Realms, but are not bound by the department and might have kidnapped the two. She also feels the possibility is low. Almost all agents within major countries are under government jurisdiction, and globally illegal agents primarily operate in turbulent small countries. In Korea, there have been sporadic malicious incidents, but they generally do not occur where reality overlaps happen because of ample police force and many official agents. To be safe, she reports to the Bakery Association before entering alone. She takes a sleeve arrow and a dagger from her inventory. At a level 10 reality overlap, most monsters pose no threat. Even so, she moves forward cautiously. Normal procedure for someone without killing intent perception. Soon she arrives at the first battle site. The tree demon, half blown apart, lies on the ground. Rangers are skilled at observation, and she sees at a glance this tree demon, possessed by a large root spirit, was instantly killed in one blow. She judges level 10 or above, but cannot tell what profession, since many magic-based professions call down lightning. The only thing that relieves her is that since this powerful, mysterious person was also fighting the tree demons, the other party should not be a bad person, though only should. She explores forward, finds more traces of combat, all indicating instant kills, and her evaluation rises further. After a few more steps, two people appear on the ground, both unconscious but with stable breathing. The scattered branches and ligature marks enough to explain. She has guessed the general picture. The only remaining question is who rescued them. She follows the traces, and the scene ahead surprises her even more. A large number of demonic creatures lie dead, none surviving, forming a path of death paved with corpses. Not far away, she sees a tall figure in the gradually thinning fog. She tells the figure not to move, identifies herself as a Department of Supernatural Abilities Mystic Realm agent, and asks the figure to state his identity. Even though she feels the other party should be a good person, she still raises her sleeve arrow. Yu Sanxian's sleeve arrow was a rare quality piece from a 6-star dungeon, capable of light-forged arrows with terrifying punch, and she kept it trained on me through the mist. The first rule for a Mystic Realm agent facing a peer was to make sure of your own safety first. And I panicked. Only now did it sink in how wide the gap was between a level 6 rookie and an experienced level 28 agent. At Demon Wind Temple, the monsters had stayed level 1 to 5, and Master Chongheo had destroyed the final boss before it could lock onto me. So this was my first time standing in a real high-level transcendence killing intent. I told her not to shoot, that it was me. She froze, baffled, disbelieving, then enormously surprised, calling my name and lowering her stance. I told her calmly we should get Officer Wang and Li Lu out for treatment first, and talk on the way. She agreed by reflex, then seemed to remember a beat later which of us was supposed to be the senior. Brother Ba was at home watching a bakery training video when Yu Sansen called, shouting that Li Rui had appeared alone in a level 10 reality overlap at level 6, accusing him of being a hands-off manager, then teasing that if he could not handle his people she would happily poach me. He understood at once I was fine, and had probably cleared a monster or two, played the stern team leader, swore I would be punished, then asked how I was actually doing. She told him sourly I was lively as ever, counting drop materials, and that I had cleared an entire area. Brother Ba was too floored to feel joy, told her to keep me in Xianwang Town, threw on his clothes, and drove. On the way he reamed Brother O out for not catching the warning signs. When he found me, I was happily hugging my pile of reality overlap loot, less for the materials than because Officer Wang had been confirmed fine. Brother Ba was annoyed and amused both, with a flicker of pity because he knew I had grown up alone. I told him the whole story and he understood, even thinking Yu Sanxian's call made sense since I was now effectively in her debt. Any death during the response leaving a smudge on her record. He flipped through my haul, said my luck was as bad as ever, all trash but a lot of it, and estimated 40 or 50,000 won. I had not expected so much. As he was deep into a lecture about reality overlaps for newcomers, he heard a soft snore and glanced over to find me asleep, muttering about what monster he had recruited. Brother O was nervous at the Gukdong building, sitting at the next desk and telling me Chairwoman O was on the phone with Vice Chairman, working out my punishment for unilaterally entering a folded reality at level 6. He tried to reassure me, said I was studying the rulebook with real focus, then asked a question, and I looked up and asked when I would actually get paid for the materials I had turned in. His sincere expression froze. I told him there was nothing to fear. Money was what was real, and when he warned anything more than a verbal warning would affect promotions, I asked whether the discipline would still count if I switched to the Hyunryang Association. He flinched and told me not to even think about it. Brother Ba walked over with a serious face and announced the result was out. A verbal reprimand and educational talk. The criticism meeting was set for 2 p.m. on the 11th floor with every other team there. And a few hours later, all available action team members gathered to criticize me. I declared with great formality that I had unilaterally entered the secret realm at level 6, rescued a police officer and a villager from Huangchan 5th Group, killed 8 level 10 Great Root Essences and 3 illusionary spirit charms, and submitted a profound self-criticism. Everyone looked stunned, It felt suspiciously like showing off. Then the department secretary brought a letter of thanks from the police station, addressed to me for saving Officer Wang and Li Lu, issued at municipal level since the station knew nothing of the inside story. It was clearly a polite courtship from high-ranking police officials, hoping to forge ties with these privileged organizations. Brother Ba accepted it awkwardly, and the criticism meeting became impossible to continue, dissolving amid laughter. Yu Sanxian's team was particularly grateful, since without me their operation would have ended in tragedy. Only Brother O was left to write up a meeting record that read with bureaucratic dignity that novice agent Li Rui had delivered a profound self-criticism. The team leaders had each given stern education, and a positive cautionary effect was achieved. At the apartment complex, Officer Wang had returned home with a few days of leave. His rebellious daughter, Wang Jia, lapsed back into silence once she saw he was fine. But Du Yu Young was lit up with relief, having nearly fainted at the news of his injury, and had cooked a whole table of dishes. She nagged him for not even telling the truth at home, and he waved her off, saying it was not that he did not want to, but that he was not allowed. As an old policeman, he could guess he understood why his mouth had to stay shut. She told him to call Rui over, and he answered that he already had. Wang Jia came out doing her best to seem casual, pouring water, asking whether Brother Rui was coming. The doorbell rang, and I came in carrying nutritional supplements. Officer Wang was displeased that I had spent money on these things. Du Yu Yang clicked her tongue at him, but quietly worried it would push me into financial trouble. I was not short. My compensation had come through at 56,500 won, and I was already considering replacing the 8-year-old computer at home, so I could log into the agent intranet. The four of us sat down, and as usual Du Yu Young did most of the talking. I responded. Wang Jia stayed silent, and Officer Wang only chimed in for serious matters. The longer he watched, the more puzzled he grew, because I had come looking for him on the day of the incident, had been at Huangchuan 5th Group, and was asking nothing today about what had happened. But then he watched me gossiping with Du Yuyong about the butcher at the head of the market, laughing along as she described his wife showing up to fight him in the open, and he could not connect this giggling student with the kind of people whose names made even city bureau leaders speak in careful circles. After the meal I left, scanned a shared bicycle, and rode home. Over the next several days, the Bakery Association told me to rest, and Brother O dropped by whether or not he had a reason, probably afraid I would wander off into another adventure. 5 days passed, my final exams finished, and the imprint changed right on schedule. The countdown to the second dungeon beginning. I was anxious. To test my real combat, I had fought Brother O in the wilderness and lost. The gap between having a profession and not having one was enormous, since once a profession was locked in, several attribute points were added on top. Brother O's was Hunter with an enhanced smell talent, a skill, an insight and recovery, and even running Shinso Bunroi Heart Sutra 3 rounds in a row I could not win because his absurd recovery healed it off in combat. I really wanted to hit level 10. After 3 fights, he sat on a rock drinking mineral water, told me it was already remarkable at level 6, and once I advanced he would not beat me. He rambled the next dungeon was Gohyan Town, and at level 6 the experience would not get me to level 10. I squinted, told him not to fool me. The data said 6 stars was not low difficulty, that 2 to 4 was more common. He admitted it was high difficulty, but said the problem was I had beaten up the administrator, that anyone who slightly offended got at least 3 high difficulty dungeons in a row, only that others got 5s or 6s, while mine would all be 10 stars. I asked if he could not at least wish me well, and he said he was stating facts. What neither of us knew was that the puppet administrator had no authority to adjust my difficulty, that drawing Demon Wind Temple had been pure bablak constitution, which did not activate all the time. In the car, Brother O said Gohyan Town was famously low yield, 6-star difficulty for 4-star rewards, that I had to use my brain and might lower the difficulty if I played it right. We returned to the Gukdong building to look up guides. The guides covered procedures for main quests and triggers for side quests, and a not-too-obscure realm tended to be richly documented. I valued them, since last time I had only been lucky to meet Master Changhao, who cleared Demon Wind Temple and let me jump from level 1 to level 6. This time I had to do as many side quests as possible, since my experience bar sat at 550 out of 2,100 and the per level requirement kept climbing. As we discussed, Brother Ba came over, confirmed Gohyan Town, told me to come into his office, and said news had come that someone else would be entering the same dungeon, the very fact he knew implying the person had an unusual identity. He started with Zhang Sogwang from Team 1, who had just hit level 10 and advanced. We had crossed paths at Wutu Mountain. For the other person, Brother Ba needed to explain something. From the provincial level up, Mystic Realm agent organizations were managed by the Department of Supernatural Abilities, but there were other forces in the transcendent world. In the Bakery Association, the chief committee member was appointed by the department, while the rest mostly came from those other forces. The person entering with me was Heo Songri, of the Heo family in Ohun province, a deeply rooted house that always had a Heo on the committee. Heo Songri was a junior, presumably from the main branch. I thought a moment and said I suppose the department wanted me to eliminate this kid in the Mystic Realm. Brother Boss snapped that was right my ass, that I was to take care of him. The kid was level 9 and around my age, and a level 6 taking care of a level 9 sounded absurd, but for one who could instantly kill a level 10 monster it was normal. I shrugged, said fine, as long as he did not get in my way. Brother Ba reminded me once we entered we were teammates, and told me Chairwoman O had said depending on my performance I might be awarded a high-rarity non-soulbound equipment. I brightened, then frowned and asked whether his special instructions had another meaning, whether he was worried I might beat the kid up inside. He paused, denied it quickly, and broke out in a cold sweat. I had actually guessed it. The president of the Bakery Association in Dongrim Province was Song Yo, a man whose hobby was poetry. This afternoon he had to make time because Commissioner Heo, the Heo family patriarch from Ohun Province and a current committee member, had come in person. They greeted each other and sat by the coffee table while the secretary withdrew. Commissioner Heo asked about reality overlap frequency in Dongrim Province lately, since commissioners were not bound by region. Song Yo said it was not good, that it had risen 3 percentage points year on year, that this year's growth was estimated at 5%, the third consecutive year, and that the department had been requesting reports very frequently. Commissioner Heo sighed something big was about to happen, then mentioned his grandson was already level 9 and about to enter Gohyun town. Song Yo congratulated him, and Commissioner Heo gave a wry laugh that imprints were both opportunity and curse, since no one knew when they might die. Song Yo echoed the name, knowing it perfectly well but waiting for the other side to open his mouth. Commissioner Heo said he had heard the troublemaker who shut down Demon Wind Temple was also going, asked Song Yo to instruct his subordinates to have that person look after his grandson, and asked what level he was. Level 6, Song Yo replied. Commissioner Heo was a little disappointed until Song Yo added that this kid had single-handedly killed more than a dozen phantoms and tree demons in a level 10 reality overlap a few days earlier, after which he had told them in advance that being a bodyguard in Gohyun town would be a piece of cake for me. He sipped tea, said he hoped I would grow up quickly since the western cities of Dongrim were severely short of people. Commissioner Heo offered to transfer experienced ones over from Ranhe province, where more than a dozen newcomers had been gained last quarter. Song Yo apologized for the oversight, secretly delighted, knowing such transfers would have been almost impossible to arrange otherwise, and silently credited a kid he had never met. In Hwangryang City I had memorized all known Gohyun town strategies. Brother Ba had promised high-rarity equipment, so I had to take good care of Heo Song-ri, and I am a man of principles. To push my combat power higher, I went to the support team and reminded Moon Yan she had promised to tell me what those blank materials were for. She was slurping instant noodles in the corner, finished, smiled, and led me to the materials department. She headed the support team with equipment, materials, and analysis all reporting to her, but her gentle voice made the phrase high-ranking and powerful hard to attach to her. After several rounds of identity verification, she led me to a device that looked like an old-fashioned CRT computer. Each city branch only had one, and it could strengthen equipment and upgrade levels. She added they only strengthened high-rarity equipment or items with excellent affixes. I asked if I could strengthen the administrator's coat. She said it was level 1 and blank, that no one would burn rare materials on something with no affixes. I disagreed. Given the slap's various performances, including fusing other skills, I suspected the coat had something strange too. I gave her the decisive argument that I had a lot of materials since non-permanent materials from dungeons could not be brought into reality or handed in. She told me fine, but to be quick, that the device burned magic crystals assembled by machinist professionals, which was why it could process secret realm products in reality. When it powered on, I followed instructions and put my hand into the reader. A burning sensation appeared at my imprint, and the panel showed the administrator's jacket. Item level 1. Quality unique. Defense +6. With the comedic description that all employees please keep it properly, the special effect that the slap used while wearing it should be quite cool, and a flag that it was eternal. Moon Yan explained different equipment types could only be strengthened by compatible materials, but the jacket was blank so I had to test. I dropped in a piece of ordinary frost silk thread, and the panel reported strengthening successful, progress 3 out of 50. She was startled, said a level 1 item needing 50 was incredible, and asked whether we should just give up. I said I had a lot of frost silk thread, and dropped in 17 materials under her pained gaze. The jacket upgraded to item level 2, defense +8, with ice resistance +2% added on top of the slap is cool note. She rushed to the screen, muttering it had gained a special effect from nothing just by strengthening. Even the gentle big sister had her ungentle moments. She explained there were 3 ways to get equipment special effects. High-rarity gear had them, some special non-player characters could bestow them, and there were legendary special effect generation scrolls. She gave a bitter smile that this was why she had not wanted me to enhance, but now thought the coat was very special. I slapped my forehead, asked if it was the same for skill special effects, and she said of course. I thought about my slap and kept it to myself to spare her a heart attack. I asked whether lightning and ice were compatible, and she said it depended. To try one piece, I threw in a lightning wood shard, and the panel reported +5, current 5 out of 100. She clasped her hands excitedly. I threw in the rest and the coat became item level 3, defense plus 10, ice resistance 2%. Then I got mischievous and asked whether fire would conflict since it was already compatible with ice. She refused to commit and I threw in a portion of scorching powder. Plus 5, current 5 out of 200. She fell silent. I added a warm pearl. Plus 4, current 9 out of 200. She began babbling that fire and water could not share progress, that the data did not say this, that it must be an illusion. I understood. The coat could be enhanced infinitely regardless of attribute, and I could just throw whatever I had into it. So I poured all the materials in my inventory into the slot. The screen kept announcing success, again and again, without a single failure. When the dust settled, the coat was item level 5, defense plus 17, ice resistance 2%, lightning resistance 3%, poison resistance 2%, fall damage minus 1%. Moonyon was sitting on the floor beside me, eyes vacant, muttering the enhancement rules no longer existed. I told her a single sample was not enough to explain objective laws. She admitted, a little jealous, that since the device was already on, she might as well show me, then scanned out her rock-solid auxiliary lab coat. Item level 26, quality epic, defense plus 40, reaction plus 3, search plus 7, additional defense plus 5, physical resistance plus 15%. An epic with 2 attributes and 2 special effects on top of defense, not bad but shabby beside my entries, and the only advantage was its numerical values. A function of item level. Once mine reached level 26, it would not be worse. I held back any comfort since it would have sounded sarcastic. She switched off the device, patted her cheeks, said comparison was the thief of joy. I asked if she wanted to grab food, but she passed, saying current real materials needed processing, and the support team had no field missions and a lower danger coefficient. Much busier than the action teams. I left the Gukdong building fully prepared, inventory cleared without wasting a scrap, with potions for restoring status and applying buffs, and stats high enough to dominate a 6-star level 5 to 10 dungeon. I glanced at my imprint, 3 days left, and realized today was the 25th, which landed on Zhang Ho's birthday. If I missed it, he would sulk for a month. Just then Jiang So-wong from Team 1 approached, called me Brother Rui, said what a coincidence, that he had heard I was going too. He confirmed and said we should cooperate and aim for a smooth clear. I asked whether we would spawn in the same place when we entered. He shook his head, suggested the guide mentioned a celestial statue in the center of town and we could meet there. I agreed. He thanked me, and I waved him off, laughing at how self-aware he was, knowing which of us was the strong one. Both of us had fought the Great Root Spirit on Wutu Mountain, and while he had struggled, I had killed everything instantly, so the gap was obvious. I took a taxi home and got a call from Zhang Ho. The 28th, evening, same old place. With our understanding, no more words were needed. 3 days later, at 4 in the afternoon, I had 30 minutes left on my countdown and sat in the familiar chair. Brother Ba and the others did not come this time, since a 6-star did not worry them and they had real-world work. Logically, a regular staffer would supervise, but Moonyang came personally because Oh Meng-young had asked her to give me close attention and follow up on any anomalies. The Bakery Association had suppressed my name nationwide, but at the Huanggriang branch, I was a treasure. She told me to watch the hidden options and not provoke dangerous world non-player characters, since none would help me this time. I told her not to worry. The countdown ended, I closed my eyes and entered, and Jiang So-wong in the adjacent room went in with me. In Ohun Province, at the ancient Hyo family mansion, Un Gaiyang sat across from her son. She told Heian Shangri the Li Rui his grandfather had arranged was very capable, that he should not be willful, that he should listen and cooperate. Heo Songri was the same age as me but baby-faced. He told her not to worry, that he usually listened to his bodyguards, that professional matters should be left to professionals. Most imprint holders were absorbed by the department, but aristocratic families trained their own, and Heo Songri was a core member and not part of the 4 official organizations. She grabbed his hand, looked at the imprint with a minute to go, touched his head, fastened the buckles on his hands and feet, and told him to go. He closed his eyes and entered. The thunder there was natural, not the malevolent energy thunder of Demon Wind Temple, and a muggy air hinted at rain. He opened his eyes in a small empty room with 3 others. He asked the flat-haired man whether he was Li Rui, who shook his head and introduced himself as Jiang So-wong from the Bakery Association. The other 2 introduced themselves as Oh Hyung and Mei Meng, cousins from the Hyunryung Association. Oh Hyung was outgoing, Mei Meng noticeably shyer. He gave his name and said Li Rui was also from Bakery. Jiang So-wong nodded quickly that Brother Rui was very powerful and they should find him first, but Heo Song-ri assumed the leader role and said first they should find out where they were. The girls knew nothing about me and found the timid Jiang So-kwang less likable than the baby-faced Heo Song-ri, who as a direct Heo descendant had been trained in secret realms since childhood. He said by the rules they had spawned in an unknown location, that no one should reveal equipment or attributes since real-world identification could not be brought in, but everyone should state their level. He showed level 9. Jang Sogwang said level 10, profession trapper, which dropped him further in the girl's eyes since a level 10 who had advanced was the first to look for a helper. They showed level 8 and level 7. Heo Song-ri said the levels were on the higher side and there should not be much problem, and pushed the door ajar. A gust of cold wind dispelled the room's stuffiness. In the dilapidated courtyard, cobwebs hung from the eaves, and at the opposite courtyard gate a hemp rope swung from a beam, tied into a noose. This was Yugang Ghost Garden, the most difficult main quest in Gohyeon Town, and their expressions sank. The panel updated, Main Quest Phase 1, Escape the garden from the main gate. Jang Sogwang slapped his head, said he had arranged to meet Brother Rui in the center of town and could not get there now. Heo Song-ri told them not to be nervous, that they would go out first and look for me. At the same moment, a handsome young man walked into Gohyeon Town. I glanced down the deserted street, complained about the heat, wondered why I had been thrown alone at an outer spawn point, and figured I had to hurry and find Jang Sogwang and that carp guy. In the secret realm, even with previous players' guides, the variables within each stage were many, and mission terrain could be randomly generated. The four-person team led by Heo Song-ri had to explore cautiously. Climbing the walls was impossible since a cyan barrier surrounded the garden, and leaving without using the main gate counted as failure. Heo Song-ri asked Jang Sogwang whether as a trapper he could craft traps by hand, and he said he could from environment or scraps, and keep 3 active at once. The plan was to explore one courtyard at a time with Jang Sogwang dropping traps on their return path. Oh Hyung mentioned the guide noted many corpse ghouls and corpse demons here. Not easy to deal with. They began to explore outward. I had received my main quest. Stage 1 was to explore Yugang Ghost Garden, the same as theirs from a different start. According to the guide, my mission had only 2 stages and the ultimate goal was killing the boss entrenched deep within, so my difficulty was higher. The garden had been the private residence of a cultivator who had retired into seclusion then disappeared, leaving behind corpse ghouls and yin souls. But I did not plan to do the main first, because if I accidentally killed the boss, I would be ejected before helping Heo Song-ri, and the high-quality equipment depended on him. I walked the street in the administrator's coat and a pile of white-grade gear, and here ordinary enemies could hardly threaten me. Gohyeon Town was an isolated town on the Central Plains border that was effectively a small city, and without a god's eye view I had no idea how to reach the center, so I turned to an old melon farmer selling watermelons by the roadside. To my surprise, the moment he saw me he gripped his melon-cutting knife, half-crouched, as if ready to run. I remembered my ferocious demeanor talent might be intimidating, and chuckled, told him not to be afraid, that I just looked ugly but was actually a good person. The talent gave -5 favorability, and +20 fright on first meeting, and I wanted to see whether the impression could be reversed. He told me I was not ugly, just that my brows and eyes looked fierce. I sighed and said I was born this way and could not disfigure myself, which aligned with his values, and he relaxed and asked what I wanted. I asked the way to the immortal statue in town center. He told me to walk this road, turn left, and once I could see the stone statue I could go however I liked. I cupped my fists in thanks and stood to leave. Just then, several burly men in elaborate clothes approached, sized me up cautiously, and went straight for the melon farmer, shouting that they had told him not to sell in town. He stammered that he was just here on the edge and did not dare offend their eyes. The leader smashed a watermelon with a punch, ate a slice, and told him to get out and leave his things. The panel updated to side quest melon dispute, with a choice to help the melon farmer or help the thugs. I did not hesitate. A powerful slap without any skill sent the thug spiraling, and he fell unconscious. The panel updated, help the melon farmer, drive away the thugs, reward experience 602 random quality items. After dropping one, I charged the others, the reward size implying they were only level 6 or 7, and I knocked everyone to the ground without skills. I tied them up, woke the leader, and he was begging for his life. I experienced ferocious demeanor's effectiveness and continued to threaten, told him to stay here honestly, that if he was gone or anything happened to the elder when I returned, I would kill his whole family, smashing one thug's pinky finger and clamping the other's jaw to muffle the scream. The quest had not settled because the thugs were not yet driven away, and if I brought Heo Song-ri and Jang Sogwang later, they could also leech experience. Letting Jang Sogwang leech was colleague courtesy. Letting Heo Song-ri leech was pure business sense, because Brother Ba had said good performance got me high-quality equipment, and to me this was a business deal where I was the booster, and the young master needed a positive review. The old melon farmer beside me was full of doubt. Kill his whole family, and I still called myself a good person? I had not actually meant to kill anyone's family. I did not even know whether the man had won. I had just thought that was how movies portrayed threats. Once he was thoroughly terrified, I told him to hand over his money. The panel reported scattered silver 1, a prop only, and I handed it to the melon farmer as his reward for watching them. He was afraid of being alone with the ruffians but had decided I was scarier, and chose to be sensible. I headed toward the statue but around the corner ran into another group similarly dressed, this time armed and more menacing. The panel updated, Melon Dispute 2, Drive away the bullies, reward experience 702 items. After a flurry of punches and kicks, they were also on the ground. I grabbed one and asked who they were, and the leader said with some confidence that the Hioki Association had no grievance with me. So they were not ordinary ruffians but a gang. I recalled a guide entry. The Hioki Association was a separate main storyline. A gang practicing the Hioki Sutra created by an itinerant Taoist who had stayed and accepted disciples, and clearing the storyline meant defeating the Taoist at the end. I knocked them out with a few loud thumps, stacked them, and jogged them back to the edge of town for the melon farmer to watch, telling him if he saw anything he liked to take it. I successfully reached the town center. A pure white statue stood about 3 zhang tall, with few passers-by because the weather was muggy and rain was coming. Jiang Soguang was not under the statue, which meant something had held him up. As I pondered, a third unlucky wave of Hioki Association arrived. This time I used the big slap, breaking bones until everyone was subdued, then carried the lot back to the melon farmer. He did not understand why this fierce young man kept stacking unconscious ruffians next to his stall, but he was sure of one thing: this young man was even scarier than the ruffians. I gave him a wooden stick and told him if anyone looked like waking up, just hit them. Still no Jiang Soguang at the statue, so I went to search. Along the way I encountered 3 random events: mediating a martial arts duel, a passing cultivator looking for trouble, and wild dog corpse demons in a cemetery. Except for the unavoidable corpse demons which I killed for 800 experience, 3 materials, and 1 attribute point, I handled the others as before and threw them next to the melon farmer. The passing cultivator had the worst fate. After I activated the Shinso Bonroi Heart Sutra, he was defeated in a few moves and tried to surrender. But to prevent the event ending, I beat him unconscious. My quest list now held 5 unsubmitted events worth several thousand experience. I changed direction toward the unexplored areas. Yugang Ghost Garden was still wrapped in eerie chill. Oh Hyung and Mei Mang, pale-faced, were timidly fumbling along the wall. The 4 had moved together until a group of corpse demons broke their formation, and after retreating they had found the other 2 were gone. The Ghost Garden was a maze, and the monsters were at least level 7, much harder than the guide claimed. After some discussion they retraced their steps and returned to where they had first been separated, the ground covered with fallen corpses, the air thick with decay. They held non-equipment weapons and cautiously crossed the courtyard. Suddenly a corpse demon that had clearly been broken let out a low growl, and the other dead monsters began to twitch. The panel updated. Random event corpse demon resurrection. Objective to escape the garden or eliminate all. Reward 800 experience and 2 items. They could not actually beat them, so they ran for the opposite gate, and passing through brought good news and bad. The good news was they finally found Heo Sungri and Jiang Soguang. The bad news was that those 2 were also being chased by a horde. I pondered. Gohyeon Town had only 3 actual plots. The Hioki Association, mostly handled, Yugang Ghost Garden, which was my main, and the Elders Association, a body of local gentry the guide flagged as no good either, using their influence to dispatch house servants to kidnap lonely residents, suspected of human trafficking. There was an unsolved mystery. The kidnapped were mainly lonely, elderly, disabled, and beggars, with only a few children and able-bodied among the rescued, which did not fit common sense. I was not concerned with plot, only with finding the people, so I ran toward the other side of Gohyeon Town. The Elders Association was led by 3 wealthy magnates. The final boss in the guide was the trio led by Master Huang Jungrio, and gatherings were held at the Huang Manor. As I approached, I heard sobbing. A woman was calling out for her child Yonyan to shout if she could hear her, that mommy was outside. Several house servants blocked the gate. Predictably, as I approached, I got side quest Huang Manor mystery. Investigate Yonyan's clue. Reward experience 501 item. Skipping the comfort the mother routine, I went straight up to the house servants, twisted my wrist, lunged between 2 of them, and delivered an elbow strike with each hand. They collapsed. I stepped over them into the manor. The standard quest was to talk, then infiltrate or disguise, then extract information. I took my own approach. Knock everyone in the manor down, then ask directly. At the Heo Manor, a black sedan pulled in through the main gate. Only the main branch family head was qualified to use the main gate, and it was Commissioner Heo, back from the meeting in Dongrim Province. He walked into the main house, saw his daughter-in-law, asked casually whether Songri had gone in. She respectfully replied he had entered 15 minutes ago. He told her not to worry, that Chairman Song had agreed to arrange for Li Rui to protect him. She said it was still a 6-star, the boldest thing she dared put into words. Fearing his displeasure, she added that she was mainly worried about the Yugang Ghost Garden storyline. He patiently reassured her, calling her by name, that Song had told him this newcomer Li Rui had extremely high potential, the type who as long as he did not die would make a name for himself, like those young talents nicknamed supernovas. Ungayum was skeptical, and he said old Song had told him a few days earlier Huanggriang City had had a level 10 reality overlap and I had single-handedly annihilated an entire breakpoint, so she could rest easy. Her worry turned to joy, and she said with someone like that on the team, Sungri would surely clear smoothly. Commissioner Heo mused that this person could be courted. In Yugang Ghost Garden, Heo Songri was running frantically, a rare quality longsword in his hand. a non-soul-bound eternal item from his family. The Hyos were not unwilling to give him better, but for equipment below level 10, rare quality was effectively the best. Even so, he was no match for the horde behind him. 2 of the 4 were low-level girls. Jang Sobwang was a trap master only good at static defense, and even Heo Songri at level 9 with good gear could not carry a team. He kept shouting at Jang Sogwang asking when his brother Rui was finally coming, his initial confidence gone, hoping only that I was as powerful as Jang Sogwang claimed. I was annoyed because I still had not found them. The butler of Wang Manor was hanging from a beam, cheeks swollen, both eyes bruised. I told him to talk, ask where the little girl they had captured yesterday was. The manor's servants were not pushovers, some skilled fighters hired from the Zhenghu, others ruthless former bandits. He had planned to tie this ignorant young man up and throw me into the dungeon, but wave after wave had been dealt with, and his most skilled fighter, an expelled mountain sect cultivator, had lasted less than 2 moves before a single slap sent his head flying. The butler now knew how formidable I was. I slung the Puda broadsword I had taken from a servant over my shoulder, and told him it seemed he did not intend to tell the truth. He stopped thinking about it because the tip of the Puda was now aimed at his groin. He cried out he would talk. The blade stopped an inch from his vital spot, and he confessed they had brought back a child yesterday, that she was in the cellar of the side courtyard, that all the recently captured people were there, that the others had been transported outside the town to a cluster of farmhouses growing watermelons. My eyes narrowed at the word watermelons. I subdued everyone in Huang Manor, completed a few side quests. At the entrance, the weeping woman's cries were too tragic. I awkwardly told her I had found clues and would bring her daughter back soon. She finally stopped crying and repeatedly expressed gratitude, choosing to believe me after seeing how easily I had subdued the gate guards. I looked up at the sky, noted it was really going to rain, wondered whether my 2 attempts at probing main quests had been wrong choices. On the bright side, it was certain Heo Songri had spawned in Yugang Ghost Garden, and I just did not know whether he had already failed. Better hurry. He had not failed yet. With rare quality gear he had been fighting and retreating, and with Jang Sogwang's traps he could barely evade the corpse demons. Although a rich second generation, he was quite loyal, and knowing the others' strength was inferior, he proactively covered their retreat. His clothes were torn, his face nicked by corpse poison with a damage reduction debuff. Jang Sogwang activated a skill, used corpse dog fangs to create blade traps along the path, told Heo Songri to hurry over. After Heo Songri circumvented them, Jang Sogwang formed hand seals and made the traps invisible. The charging corpse demons crashed in and several were impaled. Oh Hyung's impression of the trap master jumped, but they still had to deal with the stitched corpse demon, the level 10 elite monster in the horde, body made from shriveled corpse parts melded together, its right claw wielding a refined iron chain that dragged with a jingling sound. Killing the leader first was correct. Jang Sogwang asked what to do. The girls used terrain to push down a rockery to block the door but had no skills. Heo Songri proposed using this time to make a slow trap, since the elite was immune to slow, so the corpse demons would fall behind. The girls would block the slowed ones at the door while they tried to surround and kill it in the central courtyard. Jang Sogwang's mental energy was largely depleted but could still make a slow trap. Heo Songri once again traded a body injury for a brief window for the trap to take effect. The horde was caught in the slow zone while the stitched corpse demon broke free and came to the front. He played bait, leading it into the central courtyard, while the girls blocked the door with broken stone pillars and bricks. They had very little time to kill it. Heo Songri was brave. All he could rely on was equipment, since his family could not provide attributes, skills, or talents. The longsword unleashed a brilliant azure gleam, the passive lunge ability, and he pierced the corpse demon's chest. He was greatly invigorated when a chain wrapped his ankle. The corpse demon was many stitched corpses with no vital organs, so the chest was not a vital spot, and it had exploited his airborne moment. Blood gushed. He screamed, fell, and his left lower leg was completely gone. Oh Hyung and Jang Sobong were stunned, but the usually shy Mei Mang charged forward holding a broken stone pillar, which shattered into pieces and knocked the corpse demon off balance. The girl had clearly invested heavily in physique. Jang Sogwang and Oh Hyung snapped out of it and attacked from different directions. The iron chain hit Jang Sogwang and sent him tumbling. The corpse demon roared and turned to its next target, only to realize its legs were entangled by a light forged binding trap rope, which Jang Sogwang had secretly set during his feigned charge. Mei Mang and Oh Hyung rushed in with a barrage, their level 7 and 8 physiques bringing chunks of flesh off, but it broke free and swept them away with the chain, blood at their mouths. Then, with a soft hiss, the chest was pierced again by a sword tip. Heo Songri leaped up on one leg and clung to the corpse demon's body, stabbing and slashing the rare quality blade back and forth inside it. Jang Sogwang dragged his injured body and hacked away. With an unwilling roar, the corpse demon crashed to the ground. They had no time to celebrate. The blocked gate burst open, and a large number of corpse demons appeared. Jang Sogwang shouted to run. Oh Hyung and Mei Mang obeyed and started to flee, then turned to see Heo Songri leaning on his sword, limping toward the corpse demon army. He told them he would hold them off, that he could not run anyway, that they should go. His voice trembled because he was afraid. Since childhood, he had dreamed of becoming a hero who could turn the tide, and felt this was his chance even if it lasted 3 minutes. As he passed the girls, he forced an ugly smile. Jang Sogwang's legs would not move from fear. Just then, a notification struck like a thunderbolt. Random event corpse demon resurrection. Objective run and shake him off. Reward experience 1100. Attribute points 2. 1 excellent quality equipment. Good news, no need to be conflicted anymore. Bad news, everyone was doomed. Heo Songri was dumbfounded. They had hit the hardest main quest and drawn the most challenging random event of Resurrection 2. The rewards tempting but too hard. Oh Hyung asked Jang Sogwang where the helper he had mentioned was. The girls huddled together, having died once before and knowing how awful that was. Jang Sogwang admitted it was his fault for arranging the meat under the statue. Heo Songri laughed bitterly and told them to pray their souls were not affected. They retreated. The corpse demon group did not rush because the leader intended to smash them himself. The iron chain rattled and flew for Heo Songri's head. He stared at it, facing death head-on, telling them again to run. Seeing it hopeless, Jang Sogwang turned to run when he felt a blur as if something brushed past in the opposite direction. A heavy strike sound came, but different. They saw a figure lightly wave a palm and slap the iron chain aside. Jang Sogwang practically shrieked the name Brother Rui. I did not have the demeanor of a master, just turned, gave a dry laugh, apologized for being late, said the town was too big, asked them to wait while I handled this. My tone was as relaxed as bumping into a classmate. Electric lights surged. Sinso Ban Roy Heart Sutra activated. I became a bolt of golden lightning, vanished, and appeared on the corpse demon's face. Bonroy Palm. One strike, the elite monster's upper body completely disappeared. Heo Sonri had been about to warn me the demon had no weak points, but apparently there was no need. The panel rolled. Random event resurrection triggered. Stitched corpse demon dead. No pursuit capability. Event completed. Level up. New attribute points. New equipment. The group of corpses had lost their leader but reorganized quickly. I pulled small bottles from inventory and chugged. Junior temporary physique. Arm strength, leg strength, and defense boost. All from Demon Wind Temple. I applied every buff, then hoisted a deeply impressed Heo Shangri onto my shoulder. He had expected to watch his savior charge, not to be carried. My logic was sound. After carrying Master Chung Heo last time, I trusted the approach, and I was afraid a corpse demon would sneak attack the injured. Jang Sogwang and the girls still had healthy legs, so if real danger appeared they could run. Under the buffs, wielding a simple blade, I cut a path through the horde 7 times in and out. Heo Songri did not make a single sound clinging to my shoulder. After all the corpse demons fell, the panel reported the threat eliminated. Corridor chase ended. Corpse demon dead. Resurrection ended. Bone-eating evil ghost dead. Evilized grass spirit dead. These people had triggered many random events the same way I had in Demon Wind Temple, so I gained a large amount of experience in a pile of materials. A profitable wave. I placed Heo Songri gently on a clean patch and personally took out trauma medicine for his broken leg. He was overwhelmed and choked out that he had secretly doubted me before, that he was a huge idiot. I told him I was always polite to clients and asked what his main quest was. He told me, tearfully, that I was truly a good person. Learning all 4 wanted to escape through the main entrance, I told them to follow me, hoisted him back, and led the way. Oh Hyung and Mei Meng now had to admit Jang So-wang was right, and the situation was stable. Jang So-wang's admiration was even stronger, because he alone knew about feats like soloing a 10-star at level 1. As they thought, they walked up to find the ground littered with severed limbs of corpse demons and corpse ghosts. The moment of realization that I had not been at peak when I instantly killed the elite, that I had been fighting my way in the entire time. Jang So-wang asked whether I had really killed my way through, and I told him yes, that I had reached level 7 mid-spree which restored my status. And with the corpse demon's experience had just hit level 8. Heo Songri on my shoulder asked what we should do after we got out, and I told him not to worry, that I had to let him complete those side quests first. As for the main, we would eventually fight the Yin Soul boss in Yugang Ghost Garden, but as long as we did not reach the deepest part it would not trigger. Just as they left the Ghost Garden, Jang So-wang exclaimed the main quest had updated. It was a choice between inviting the Hyoki Association or the Elders Association to help take down the boss. The 4 now deferred to me even on main quest decisions. I made a small hiss and said this was bad. I told them it was hard to explain. I led them to the old melon farmer, where they were dumbfounded by the ground covered in Hyoki Association disciples. Heo Songri asked dryly whether I had wiped out their base. I gave an awkward laugh, said they had come to provoke me, then said each of them should go slap and kick someone and accept the quest, that the guys were bullies. After trying it, Oh Hyung exclaimed she had gotten a side quest. She understood I had deliberately left these people for them to farm rewards. The quest was not complete until I rounded them all up and drove them out of town. Mei Meng timidly said they could still go find the Elders Association. The others looked at me again to find my expression awkward once more, and I apologized that I had also taken out the Elders Association. But there was another wave of rewards to get there. Beyond admiration, all 4 were incredibly moved, and Heo Songri told me again I was truly a good person. After the quest settled, the melon farmer's storyline continued. He stepped forward, bowing repeatedly. I seemed touched, then with a swift grappling technique pinned him to the ground. I asked with a chuckle whether he had been contacting Huang Zhonggrio. The reasoning was simple. The butler had said the kidnapped were held near a watermelon field, and the Hyoki disciples who clashed with him were probably not just picking fights. In a game, if the same clue appeared in two quests, they were highly likely related. He naturally would not admit it, claiming I had wronged him. I told him it was supposed to hurt, that he knew my methods, clamped his jaw, and ferocious god's malice activated again. He trembled and confessed that Master Huang had given him silver to pretend to sell melons in town, that at night he used a cart to transport the kidnapped people out and hide them in the dungeon outside town, that he had been forced. I slapped him without skill and told him to stop making stories, that I did not care who he was, just take me to the dungeon, and then get lost. I had Zhang Soguang tie him up and first took him to Huang Manor. Seeing the dead and wounded house guards everywhere, his face went pale. After those rewards settled too, I had him lead the group to the melon fields outside town, since without unlocking his information the area could not be explored. Soon we found the dungeon where people were held, and got another batch of rewards. Heo Songri exclaimed he had leveled up, that he was level 10 and could change professions. He had been level 9, and on Yugong Ghost Garden's main alone he would never have reached level 10, but under my operation he had leveled before even defeating the final boss. Everyone had gained, and I leveled up to level 9. Zhang Soguang asked whether we now had to deal with the Yin Soul boss without either faction's help. I scratched my head, said I was still far from level 10, and asked if before killing the Yin Soul we could try to open the bosses for the other two main quests. The three besides Zhang Soguang were already shocked I had entered at level 6, and hearing that I wanted to jump from 6 to 10 in a single realm made them more incredulous. Going smoothly with side quests, it generally required at least 3 instances to go from 6 to 10. Zhang Soguang was secretly pleased because only he knew I had gone from 1 to 6 in one realm. Heo Songri said if anyone else said this he would never believe it, but if Brother Rui said it could be done then it definitely could. The four agreed. Before leaving, I asked the melon farmer why the Hyoki people had been looking for him. He guessed they suspected he was involved in Master Huang's business, and wanted to expose him. I asked what Huang was doing with the kidnapping. He had a guess. Every time Master Huang kidnapped people, he sent them to the dungeon, and a few months later sent them out. But since Unjong Temple, which was haunted, was destroyed by heavenly lightning a few months ago, no one had been sent there again, and he guessed it must be related. I grabbed his collar, repeated the name. Yes, he said, trembling. Unjong Temple, with a long flight of steps, vermilion walls, a tall pagoda. I confirmed it again, and he said yes, that the place had been haunted for years, and he was just guessing. Master Chongheo had said Unjong Temple was Demon Wind Temple, and he and the old Taoist from Sinso Palace had joined to destroy it, so the melon farmer's story made sense. But the realm was an instance, not a real world. An instance is reset for the next player, so Demon Wind Temple being destroyed in one should not affect world non-player characters in another. I had two conjectures, that the system error had modified the realm's settings, or that world non-player characters like Master Chongheo wandered between realms and retained memories, so events they took part in changed the realm's progress. Further observation was needed. I kicked the melon farmer and told him to scram, that if he came back I would kill him. He ran off scrambling. I now knew the truth. The disappearances in Gohyeon town were mostly related to live sacrifices at Unjong Temple. The traitor Sun Xian from Pengdo was using vital essence to repair his divine soul. But this was a guess, and inconsistencies remained. Sun Xian was a powerful figure contending for Underworld Emperor in Pengdo, and should not have personally driven a group of small-town gentry, so there had to be an intermediary. I put it aside, carried my newly acquired fanboy Heo Songri, and led the others to the Hyoki Association's lair, the boss location. Although the founder was a Taoist, the place was a martial arts hall, which meant the guy widely accepted disciples but taught only external martial arts. I told the girls to watch Heo Songri and Zhang Soguang to come in with me. The Hyoki leader was a final boss, not comparable to an elite like the Stitched Corpse Demon, and to prevent danger to my client, I chose not to bring him in. Just as we were about to negotiate at the door, everyone got a new prompt. Hidden quest triggered. Find clues and use a strategy to lure Hyoki Association leader Shimbu into Yugang Ghost Garden. Zhang Soguang exclaimed the guide had never triggered this kind of quest. Only Heo Songri remained unfazed, and said my awesomeness was just like that. I told them not to get too excited and to discuss where to find the clues. Oh Hyung said since the guide had no hidden line, they had to start from scratch. Normally to invite Shimbu to deal with the garden's specters, the party first completed other side quests to build a relationship. Then after defeating the tree demon outside town and finding an inner core for him, he agreed to help. Heo Songri said Brother Rui had already flattened these bullies, so the side quests were broken. From the results, my actions had an adverse impact, but as a fan he could not say anything negative. I told him not to worry, that Zhang Soguang should come in with me, that I had a way to make Shimbu willingly go. Zhang Soguang and I disappeared through the main door, followed by crashing sounds. Oh Hyung was a little worried it sounded like a fight. Heo Songri insisted it was the method of meeting friends through martial arts. then under Oh Hyung's silent challenge, covered by saying Shimbu was a Taoist, and they had to show off to deepen the bond, then finally waved his hand that he could not explain. They must be fighting. Not long after, a calm me and a dazed Jang Sokwang walked out dragging a person covered in scorch marks, clearly Shimbu. Heo Sungri asked whether I had not said I would make him willingly go. I kicked Shimbu and asked whether he was willing. Willing, he nodded, half his bones broken. I shrugged at Heo Sungri. Gohyeon Town was a level 10 realm, and no matter how strong the boss, it would be suppressed within level 10. I could instantly kill ordinary level 10 monsters, and after a spirit recovery potion, there was nothing I could not defeat. I said we still needed to visit the Elders Association, that another hidden quest could probably be triggered. The original boss lair was Huang Manor, but because I had wiped it out, the boss trio moved to the town's ancestral hall. On arrival, the realm prompted another hidden quest with no reward listed, indicating full completion was required for resolution. I once again led Jang So Wang in. The trio's combined combat power was not higher than Shimbu's, because although 3, they collectively constituted the boss's true form, and each was individually weakened, only slightly stronger than the Stitched Corpse Demon, and could not withstand a single Bonroy palm. To bring them alive, I held back, used only ordinary big slaps. After they were dragged out, Jang So Wang tied them together. Heo Sung-ri asked whether we were going to the Ghost Garden now. I waved to wait, that I still had something to ask. I squatted by the captives and first found Shimbu. Asked whether he cultivated Taoist magic. Yes. I asked whether he had heard of Sinso Palace. He nodded vigorously, the rope pulling the bruised old men behind him into winces, though they dared not cry out. I asked how much he knew about Sinso Palace's thunder technique. He poured out everything. Thunder technique was the 5 thunder divine method, the 5 thunders being Sky Thunder, Earth Thunder, Dragon Thunder, Divine Thunder, and Community Thunder, Divine Thunder. And Community Thunder Kaminola Earth Thunder commanded monsters. Dragon Thunder suppressed barbarian beasts. Divine Thunder stabbed ghosts and specters, and Community Thunder slayed evil spirits. But that Sinso Palace was full of true living immortals, and he did not know what thunder technique they cultivated. I asked whether he knew where to find these types of thunder technique. He said he did not, that if he had such abilities he would not be cooped up in Gohyeon Town. I told everyone to tell me their connections to Gohyeon Town, why they kidnapped the lonely townspeople, where they sent them and to whom and for what purpose, and that Shimbu could also talk about the melon farmer. They each confessed. Several years ago, a strange scholar had come to town, found the Elders Association, and asked them to kidnap the lonely uncared for and send them to him for long-term cooperation. The 3 elders, wealthy magnates, had refused and summoned retainers to tie him up for heresy. The scholar showed no fear, chanted a few incantations, and the burly warriors immediately dropped dead. He then unhurriedly told them that if they helped, he could impart these cultivation methods. Cultivation was far more valuable than gold, and Huang Jungrio, already wealthy, sought further advancement and agreed on the spot, the other 2 assenting under duress and temptation. The scholar laughed and demanded at least 10 people every 3 months delivered to the haunted Unjong Temple Mountain, that they were not to ask anything else or spread word, and he needed a continuous discreet supply. The method he imparted was an evil path of collecting vital essence and blood. Everyone scorned the 3 old men, and if Heo Songri had had a leg, he would have kicked them. I asked Shimbu whether the scholar's methods were related to Pungdo. He was stunned, then shook his head vigorously, said impossible, that sacrificing living people was clearly an evil path, that he did not know details but always dealt with the souls of the deceased, that live sacrifice did not seem like Pungdo's methods. So Son Chian was definitely from Pungdo but the scholar was not, which made the matter more bizarre. I asked Shimbu about his relationship with the melon farmer. He replied sanctimoniously that he had sensed what the 3 old fellows were doing and thought to act on behalf of heaven, but seeing my icy gaze he changed his words, that he had wanted the method allowing mortals to gain such cultivation in a few years, that he wanted a share, so had sent people to watch the melon farmer and force old Huang to show himself. I slapped him again and told him he dared call others despicable. Jang Sogwang asked about Yugang Ghost Garden. The 3 old men, shameless yet caring about appearances, stammered. Shimbu, having traveled to Jianghu for years, was thicker-skinned and said directly that the owner of the garden was also a cultivator, that for some reason the 3 had wanted to kill him but could not, so they had offered Shimbu a large sum to slaughter his entire family. The cultivator's resentment had been extremely strong, turning into a lingering ghost that haunted the garden and raised corpse demons, but the garden collected wind and gathered water, perfectly forming a land-bound situation, so the demons could not leave. Under my continuous big slaps, the 3 elders also confessed. The cultivator had discovered their kidnapping, and not wanting to conflict with local magnates, had not killed them but sternly demanded they stop, offering to let bygones be bygones. This indecision brought him deadly disaster. Heo Songri and the others were impressed, and finally understood why previous players could not sort out the town's plot. They had not unlocked this hidden ending. I clapped my hands and said all right, that we would go to Yugang Ghost Garden, Everyone carried the captives in. Upon entering, we received a new prompt. Hidden quest updated. Three-way stalemate. Objective to make the Huki Association, Elders Association, and the Ghost Garden's lingering spirits fight each other. Then annihilate all enemies. Reward experience 5,000. Attribute points 2. 5 random items. Sometime later, we carried the unscrupulous local gentry into Yugang Ghost Garden, all looking terrified. Master Huang said nervously the garden was full of corpse demons and ghosts. Shimbu chimed in that the malevolent energy was extremely heavy. Heo Songri laughed triumphantly that they did not know that the corpse demons had already been slaughtered by his brother Rui. As we spoke, the group turned through the main entrance and saw the ground covered with shattered remains, all finding it incredible. Shimbu, the resident wandering Taoist, was the most astute and immediately launched into flattery that the young hero truly possessed extraordinary methods, that he had traveled far and rarely seen such thunderous techniques, that even Sinso Palace immortals were not as skilled. Even I felt this was too much, since I had personally witnessed Sinso Palace's methods. The group spent a long time before reaching the back garden of the estate. A tightly closed door was before us, adorned with scarlet talismans, Shimbu's last resort from back then. As long as it was removed, the yin spirits would go out of control. I gathered everyone to the side. Oh Hyung said the mission required a three-way battle, but with the bosses beaten to a pulp it seemed impossible. Heo Song-ri said as long as they were thrown in the mission would be considered complete. He had quickly learned a results-oriented way of thinking, from whom went without saying. The original form of the yin spirit was a good person killed by these bad guys, so by the logic of this world revenge was justified. Jang Soguang said they could throw them in first to test it. I made the decision. Jang Soguang removed the scarlet talisman. The girls pulled open the door. I picked up the 4 trust bundles and threw them inside. The door closed. Heo Song-ri was in decent shape, only a broken leg, an injury that could not be healed by leveling, only by leaving the realm. He observed me and asked why I felt off. I said unhappily that this mission only rewarded 5,000 experience, while I still needed 7,000 to level, and would not reach level 10 even after. Jang Sogwang comforted me that my efficiency was already very high, and this was only my second realm. Oh Hyum almost shrieked at second. Heo Song-ri said his brother Rui was just like that, as if we had known each other for years. Mei Mang with a blush told me even without changing professions I was much stronger than many who had. I nodded and smiled, it was fine. Just then a shrill scream came from the back garden. A name, Ju Jae-young, in pleading. Then a final cry about building a memorial hall and inviting people to perform a transcendence ritual. Then all sounds faded. The bad guys should all be dead. I stretched and stood, preparing to eliminate the remaining yin spirits, since although that person had been good in life, once transformed into a ghost, he was no longer the same. Just then an earth-shattering roar was heard, and surging malevolent energy burst forth, solidifying and tearing down the back garden walls and gate. Bricks and stones flew in a gale. I grabbed Heo Song-ri and moved him to safety, professional with clients. When the gale subsided, everyone saw a 10-jang tall black shadow, barely humanoid, malevolent energy churning. The 4 people who had been thrown in twisted into a ball within. The panel reported the 3-way stalemate interrupted, an advanced hidden mission triggered. The rampage of the yin spirit. Objective kill or die, reward experience, 7,500, skill points 1. 3 random items, 1 random quality equipment. Everyone was stunned, unsure whether to be pleased by the skill point or terrified by the yin spirit that had absorbed the bosses. I was already chugging temporary potions. I had stock and many new ones from side quests, and could apply every buff. Next was the real boss battle. I told the others to protect Heo Song-ri. They objected, saying this boss was clearly stronger than normal level 5 to 10 realms, and we should fight together. Jang Sogwang said they were comrades, not burdens. I paused, smiled, admitted my mistake, then activated the Sinso Bonroi Heart Sutra and charged out in golden light. Jang Sogwang threw out a trap and shouted for me to lure the boss over. One of the girls was level 10 without skills, the other level 9, and they distracted from the perimeter. Heo Song-ri, the one-legged swordsman, had better stats and could deal real damage, biting for a fatal blow. The yin spirit not only had a physical form but had absorbed 4 bosses and could use some of their abilities. Shimbu's fire-breathing was the most impressive, the 3 elders only bloody close-range claws. With everyone's coordinated assistance I found an opening, suddenly appeared in midair with golden lightning on my palm, about to strike. The yin spirit let out a shriek and forcefully interrupted the skill's cast. Just as I was about to disengage I heard Jang Sogwang shout to unleash. A red light flashed at the yin spirit's feet and the explosive trap was triggered, not fatal but a brief opening. Bonroi Palm. The golden lightning visibly diminished the malevolent energy. Heo Song-ri raised his longsword ready for the finishing blow, but suddenly realized something was wrong. Purplish black malevolent energy surged and resuppressed the Bonroi Palm. It actually had a second form. I retreated to avoid being engulfed. The yin spirit stood unharmed. Jang Sogwang threw a few more traps trying to help me escape, and asked what we were to do, that we could not break through its defense. The other 3 had grave expressions. However, I remained calm and told them not to worry, that I still had a skill point. Everyone was confused. It was normal to bring supplies, consumables, bombs, talismans, potions, backup equipment, but who stored skill points? Demon Wind Temple, a 10-star realm, had given massive materials but only 2 extra skill points. In this dungeon, a skill point had only been rewarded because a high-level hidden boss was uncovered. So when I said I still had 1, it sent a shock through everyone. I used Yang So Wang's trap to create distance and added the point. Skill, Shinso Bonroi Heart Sutra, level 2. The Divine Thunder of the 5 Thunder technique, specifically countering yin evil and ghosts. I called for them to help distract. Zhang Soguang, Oh Hyung, and Mei Mang all charged from different directions, baiting the 3 elders absorbed into its body. I stepped into the air and activated the skill again. The corpses within shifted, and Shimbu's lifeless gaze fixed on me. Golden flames blew out of the rotting mouth, meeting the golden lightning in my palm, but they acted like water and were extinguished in an instant. Shinso Palace's golden thunder suppressed yin spirits, and after Shimbu's death he had been imbued with malevolent energy, turning into evil, and his flames driven by that energy were countered by divine thunder. And my Bonroid palm was a fusion of 2 level 2 skills. Veins bulged on my hand as I charged, lightning extinguishing the flames, heading directly for the humanoid head. Bonroid palm could also critically strike. It was like the scorching sun melting snow. The yin spirit's shriek turned into a wail. Countless tiny divine thunders invaded its body, revealing the shriveled corpse at its core. Heo Sungri leaped forward and thrust his sword. The rare quality longsword instantly sliced the fragile body in 2, and all the malevolent energy dissipated with a roar. The panel rolled. Advanced hidden quest completed. Main quest completed. Leveled up. New skill points, new items. The 2 girls jumped up hand in hand. Zhang Soguang slumped to the ground grinning. Heo Songri looked at the sword with excitement. His gaze at me filled with even greater admiration. I breathed an even greater sigh of relief, not at defeating the boss, but because the reward had been skill points, with which my client could not be dissatisfied. Then a voice interrupted, calm and without killing intent. He introduced himself as Zhu Jieyang, once the master of Yugong Ghost Garden, thanked us as benefactors, said those 3 old scoundrels in league with the Taoist had killed him with evil magic, that his resentment had lingered for years and trapped him, that today he was finally free. The speaker was a translucent humanoid figure, seemingly his middle-aged appearance from before death. I told him it was no trouble. He said his kindness could not be repaid, but he had a word that might help me. Asked whether the thunder I had used was the divine thunder of Shinso Palace. I asked whether Manor Lord Ju had something to say. He said his spirit was about to dissipate, that he had traveled to the Golden Scale Marsh in the south, that the region was teeming with demons and beasts, and there was a divine beast cultivated for 1,000 years, that a senior of profound cultivation had said the beast might be related to the Dragon Thunder, and that there was a rumor that mastering all 5 types could restore an ancient spell. I did not reply because I received a new notification. Long-term exploration quest updated. The dismembered spell. Objective to learn 5 different types of thunder techniques. Sky Thunder 0 of 1. Earth Thunder 0 of 1. Dragon Thunder 0 of 1. Divine Thunder 1 of 1. Community Thunder 0 of 1. Details that the Golden Scale Marsh in the south seem to hold clues about Dragon Thunder. Quest reward to unlock 1 mythical skill. Mythical. In the rarity system there was normal, excellent, rare, epic, and legendary as the highest tier, but there was an even higher rarity, mythical, with numbers extremely limited. All owners were famous figures in the transcendent world, something not even the Heo family possessed. To collect all 5 thunders, Divine Thunder was already in hand, taught by Master Chong Heo as compensation, but requiring first meeting him, second surviving Demon Wind Temple to the Spirit Bone Tower, third possessing the Heavenly Fiend body, and finally his promise. The other 4 would not be simple either. After providing the clue, Zhu Jieyang's soul bowed to everyone and slowly vanished. With a clap of thunder, the long-held summer downpour finally began. However, before the raindrops hit the ground, those uninvited guests had already disappeared, and the rain could only wash over Yugang Ghost Garden, as if to cleanse everything that had happened there. Moon Yan walked past the door with a cup of coffee, then took 2 steps back and looked at me. Sure enough, all 6 white stars had turned black. She was not surprised, since a kid who could clear all monsters in a 10-star realm naturally would in a 6-star. Just as she was about to leave, she heard a sharp gasp, and I opened my eyes. She helped unfasten the buckles and offered hot water. I sat for a moment to let my consciousness clear and asked the time. 4:52, she said. I told her this was bad. It was Friday. Traffic would be terrible. I would be late for Jong Ho's birthday. I told her I had an emergency and would report tomorrow, and ran out. She assumed the clearance had been smooth with nothing worth explaining. Not until half an hour later did Brother Ba rush into the support team, asking Team Leader Moon where I was. She casually replied I had said I had an emergency and left as soon as I had woken up. Brother Ba showed a hint of confusion, said I had broken the record for Gohyeon Town, uncovered a hidden ending no one had ever found, and the Heo family had called Chairman San to express their gratitude, but I had left without saying anything. How did Brother Ba know? Because as soon as Hyo Sung-ri emerged, he had started gushing to his mother and grandfather before even unbuckling the harness. He rarely genuinely acknowledged others, yet his unrestrained praise for someone he had only met once left both elders astonished. After he recounted the hidden ending, his level, and his gains, they understood the source. Commissioner Heo was very pleased. His grandson had entered at level 9 and come out at level 11 with a rare skill point, an overfulfillment, and his potential had significantly increased because of this realm. He immediately called Chairman Song to express gratitude. With the commissioner satisfied, future resource allocation would be easier. So Song was also satisfied and called Oh Meng-yong with his commendation. Oh Meng-yong's future was tied to Song's attitude, so she immediately called Brother Ba and stated I should be given significant praise and rewards, even allowing me an exception to choose one non-soulbound eternal equipment from inventory. However, when Brother Ba arrived at the Gupdong building, I had already slipped away. I was rushing to the place I had agreed on with Jong Ho. Ever since my parents had an accident when I was in elementary school, I had been an orphan. I protected myself with a tough exterior, but I had very few true friends, and Jong Ho was definitely the best. Promotions, record-breaking honors, and rewards were important, but there were more significant matters. I walked into the private dining room to my buddies clamoring that I was late, and that was a one-drink penalty. They had a sense of proportion and only brought out a glass of beer for show. I was thirsty and drank it. They teased me about being busy and I waved them off, saying it was not a big day since I did not have a girlfriend. They did not realize I had put off reporting to an organization higher than the Municipal Police Bureau just to be a few minutes late. Cake, candles, birthday song. After the routine, we started chatting. Jong Ho said mysteriously he had something that could not leave this room, that a mysterious incident seemed to have occurred in Cheongwang town last month. The others asked what. He did not know. Something supernatural. He had overheard his dad on the phone. The reason we were the closest was that we had known each other a long time, since I had often received care from Officer Wang when I was young, and Jung's father worked at the Municipal Bureau and had graduated from the police academy in Officer Wang's class. So his claim of overhearing his dad carried credibility. The friends scoffed, suggesting it was an exercise or fugitive hunt, telling him to stop being superstitious. His eyes darted to his best friend, and he asked whether I believed him. I could only say against my conscience that I thought he might have misunderstood, since I could not admit there really were supernatural events in the mountains. He was displeased, said he had really heard it that his old man had been secretive in an unusual way, asking what could be in the mountains. I awkwardly said, Ultraman. The room erupted in laughter. The next day on the 10th floor of the Gupdong building, Brother Ba called me a brat for running off as soon as I came out just to celebrate someone's birthday. He was at a loss for words, especially since things had been handled so beautifully he could not blame me. I quickly appeased him with a Brother Ba and a promise that this would be the only time. All he wanted was an attitude, and after a few pleasantries he changed his tone, telling me he had written the report based on Hyo Sung-ri's account, and to take a look. I scanned the stack, and noted that there were no problems. A little surprised at how detailed Hyo Sung-ri's account had been. There were still things Hyo Sung-ri did not know. I told Brother Ba there was one more thing. He was busy stapling and barely paid attention. I told him after the Yin Soul boss regained human form I had received a long-term mission. He brightened, said long-term missions were good with decent rewards. I asked why he was not asking what the reward was. He laughed and cursed me for wanting to show off, that he had also completed a long-term mission and obtained an epic set piece, and I should not think I could show off. The reward, I told him, was a mythical skill. He stopped his movements like a robot, took out his phone, and dialed Chairwoman O to complain that this Li Rui guy was bullying him. Mythical items might not even be one per province. The exact number is secret, guarded by each country since they were crucial weapons. A quest related to a mythical skill was a top priority. After Brother Ba briefly explained, Oh Meng-yong did not dare delay and personally rushed to the Gupdong building. I had not paid much attention initially, but seeing her and several vice presidents arrive within an hour made me realize it was a good thing I had not publicized this inside the instance. In the conference room, everyone was present, the atmosphere even tense. Oh, Meng-yong had found more information in the Department of Supernatural Abilities intranet and projected it. Secret Realm World, Eastern Continent, Skill, Spell, 5 Thunder Divine Method, a mysterious and ancient spell composed of 5 forms of thunder techniques. The brief was not much different from what Shinbu had said. At the end was the source, Chang'an Association Report and Provincial Branch Report, that former President So Chanrion had discovered murals in the 10-star realm, the Great Desolate Emperor's Tomb Divine Palace, describing the spell as originating from true immortals of the upper realm, scattered across the mortal world, and that those who possessed the 5 thunders could ascend to the Thunder Department and join the immortals. Entry notes. Upper realm, a high heaven realm rumored within the realm. Existence cannot be confirmed. Thunder Department, a divine administrative body of the upper realm. Existence cannot be confirmed. I asked what Ascension was. Oh Meng-yong could only shake her head, that in the realm worldview the upper realm was just a legend, that no one including world non-player characters had ever seen it, but according to current information they were all full of yearning to cultivate to the end and ascend. A vice president asked if I already had divine thunder. I replied earnestly yes. Another remembered Master Chongheo had directly taught it. Oh, Mengyong told everyone to gather more information, that this was a long-term quest, that disclosure was strictly prohibited and the news must not leave this room. The vice presidents left, leaving only Brother Ba, Oh Mengyong, and me. Chairwoman O was contacting Song Yo, who had been in an important provincial meeting and could not be reached. After the report, instructions came, stand by, Song Yo would consult the committee. I had not expected things so serious, originally thinking it was just a powerful skill.